everyone, and welcome back to more streaming, welcome back to more watch partying, as we are already live with
It's a good thing, because sometimes
GT
in these reverse grid races
Challenge,
you see a bit of jockeying
and
for
you
position
see
going
that
on, people slowing down to try not to finish
has
in
already
positions and so
started.
on
We
and so
see
forth.
Erhan
We don't really
Jajowski
want to
there
see that,
in
so,
his
it's a
Audi,
good idea to
powering
arrange the
already
qualifying
over the
results
wet
instead,
soap
and it's a
Sebring
much more
track,
accurate
so
representation about
identical
what the field might
conditions
look like
here
by the end
compared
of the race
to
as well,
what
if
we
use it on
faced last
qualifying pace.
week.
But, here is the R18
Around the same
Sports Pack.
circuit, so let's see how those guys are going to deal with it
GT
tonight.
competition here on rFactor 2, 8 of those coming,
I really appreciate you guys joining us
GT
for
Pro
a
on
little
his
bit
way to
of
2 titles, of course, but one of them coming here at
big
Sebring,
show.
which is very important to know. I think, you know, he's run at many circuits in GT Pro, but having a victory already at Sebring, already in the bag, I guess it kind of gives him that confidence as if he needed any more.
Let's see what people are doing tonight.
Absolutely, knowing that you can perform well at the circuit is always going to benefit going into a race, because you don't have to worry about, you know, am I quick in this sector, quick in that sector. If you've won there before, you know you're quick enough everywhere to take that win. So I would fully expect to be right up the front end again, and battling for race wins and podiums like he was last week. Of course, we saw him take the race win in the
Also,
sprint
again,
race.
have some feedback on the
Reverse grid, all the way up for a
on the
podium
audio,
in the
please, of
future race
course.
as well. So I'm expecting more of that this
So
week
Erhan Jajowski
from
purple
the R18
twice.
driver. It would be even more impressive this week, of course, with the conditions as tricky as they are, even if he has won around here before.
Yeah, the conditions weren't like this, I can assure you, back in Season 1 when he took those, or that victory, should I say, in Sebring on his way to the first ever GT Pro title. Here's Christian Mikel, who was second.
Well,
in
probably everyone is
qualifying and
purple
had
as
a
its
fairly
first lap,
decent
but
run
let's
out,
see
in Monza,
what the
fourth
guys are
on the
putting in.
event overall. As the
We
Knights
did
of Village
2
boys
minutes
were,
10.
really showing themselves to be
And
very
look at
quick
them, they
indeed.
are
He's gonna
doing
set the
quicker.
early pace here, but let's see if the next few times can actually beat him or not.
Jajowski
Erhan
209,
Jajowski can,
7/10.
with a 2:09.0
Oh my
there,
goodness
but
me.
7/10 quicker than,
And look at
the
McDuff, he's not gonna
the
beat, he's just beating
7th
Mikel,
season,
not even quite,
VEC
1.2
champion.
seconds off.
I was trying to get my words out there, didn't really happen. But yeah,
Nisula,
Jajowski
though,
goes
with a
to the front.
purple
We go
middle
on board
sector.
with Yumi Nisula, who also had a decent run at things. 8th place in Monza as an overall
As we
total
see,
for the two events. The Burst
is that-
Esport car massively
is that
sideways
Cameron
in front of him.
sliding
One
around?
of the Audis there, but
It's not gonna help
Nisula don't seem
Nisula,
to
does
be
it?
halted too much by that. Over the line he
Roger.
goes again. 3rd place
Wow.
on this occasion.
Where
but
is Cameron,
7/10 of the
though?
margin for this man on your screen right now, that is fairly large, and considering that we're expecting these conditions to actually get worse over the session,
That's a good
looking like
point.
pretty
What
unassailable
if
margin this early on.
the track still was dry?
Yeah, absolutely.
But no,
Proving
Erhan
his
Jajowski is just gonna go
experience around here
2/10
is
quicker
absolutely
again.
vital, and not only that, but he appears to be very comfortable in this very wet conditions.
Hey, Scene
Doesn't
Rock,
seem
how
to
you
have
doing?
phased, Erhan Jajowski at all at the moment in this session, and had a couple of other good times coming in as well, but nothing quite on that level yet. As we do see more times coming in, we've got Krupi up in P2, and Hakkinen's just gone 3rd as well for Cetres Velox. Yeah, see how quick the windscreen wipers are having to work to keep the water off the screen. That's just how wet it is, but doesn't seem to phase Erhan Jajowski at all.
It's not at the moment. Roy McDuff has just slotted into 8th
A
place.
little bit of a
as
draft
well, by
there,
the way.
but
Still
yeah, I
going
mean,
quicker is the North
GT3
Macedonian
draft,
at the
right?
moment. 2 purple sectors
rather no
in
draft
1
at
and
all.
2. He's following one of the Audis though. It's going to help him down the Ormond Straight, but not really into Sunset, because they're going to collide if they're not careful. Bit of a slide from the Audi in front as well. Just drifting their way through these corners.
Jajowski's still gonna put it purple here.
To just keep it on the straight and narrow. Over the line again. Is it going to be the first 2:08? No, not quite. Lost
Ooh.
quite a lot actually in that final sector as we go to
He was probably was too hesitant then with the other car ahead of him.
For GTC
It looked like.
over the line he goes. He's only
Oh, I
actually been
forgot to
into
update
one
the
GT
title.
Challenge
I am
event, by the way,
sorry.
2 weeks ago, but into 13th at the moment. 9th he came in at Monza, as Daniel Stopalski also in the top 15 after one round, comes towards or over the line, should I say. He's 8th place at the moment. Fellow Porsche driver Jan Wenger also through Sunset Bend. And you can certainly see that livery. The
Wow,
orange
like those
accents on it,
guys are
very
so
easy to
close
pick
to
out.
each
Let's
other
see
in
if we can pick
qualifying.
out a
It's
good
like
qualifying
amazing
result
that they
here.
are
Over the
not
line,
leaving each other
25th for him,
like
not really
room for their
where
own
he
laps
wants
and
to
stuff.
start. We saw in the first race at Monza that Nitro Relics were mobbing the first few places, but on this occasion it seems that they're struggling as a group a little bit more. Hakkinen and Mikel are definitely
I mean,
up there, but
the
Roy
thing
McDuff
is, the
has,
Audi is
just dropped away a
so
little bit compared to
OP
what he was
around
like 2 weeks
Sebring.
ago.
I mean,
Yeah,
I've been there, you know.
absolutely. And then, of course,
It's a
just
different,
out the
different
fourth,
kind of car there.
Untitled driver, nowhere to be seen at the moment, whether he's been stuck in some traffic or just really struggling with the rain. Can't quite tell, but as you say, they were all grouped up quite nicely in qualifying around Monza, not so around here. So when it comes to reversing the top 10 here in qualifying for the second race,
Hey Matthias, how you doing?
He's got less of those cars to pass this time round, of course, passing 4 of them next week. If things stay as they are, he'll only have to get past 3. With McDuff being down in 9th and Hakkinen and Mikel in 3rd and 4th, and everybody now just out on another outlap, getting ready to try and set another time.
I would have been Erhan right now, would have now started taking a huge...
Down the Almond Straight to start off another lap, see if we can break into those
huge
208s
gap.
as we swap over to Johan Kerjan, about to finish a lap in the Virtual Drivers by TX3 Bentley pretty soon. Just coming down that straight, you can see even the visibility is affected by this rain. Spray and so on coming off the cars. And where is this going to put Johan Kerjan? He's improved in the middle sector, currently sitting in 19th. Not the best first sector though on this lap. We'll just make our way around Sunset and see how Johan Kerjan does as he gets knocked down to 20th by someone else pipping just ahead of him.
Roger in 29th.
It's not quite an improvement then, so
I wonder whether our guys are being caught off by rain somehow.
Car as well. Half a second lost in the
Actually, let's have a look what the conditions is at Sebring at the minute.
Quite possibly, although I did just recently see Annan Bolbin get up into 7th place. Just gone back to the pit lane right now. In
Florida, Sebring.
So,
let's
yeah,
see what the current weather condition is
nicely,
there.
Just under a second behind you, Yoski. What about Yao Asensio over the line right now? Not really an improvement for him either.
Cloudy, it says.
Also in the McLaren here.
But there's huge rain around, so.
I think one of his teammates, Cam Rogers, down there with him as well in the Audi.
So there's a hurricane going up right now.
Panzer to 19th position in that McLaren, and another one of these McLarens coming up here. We're expecting, by the way, and this is from discussions that I've had with a couple of the drivers, Robin Panzer was saying that the McLaren is a lot better over a long
scattered
stint,
thunderstorms right now at Sebring, so it's absolutely accurate weather.
It's got pretty decent top speed, so overtaking should
Not sure
be
what our
manageable
burst
for
guys
those guys
did this
but,
time
The
around.
consistency over the stint and the way it behaves on the tyres is really the strength of the McLaren, and that's obviously not something that comes into play very often in a qualifying session, so we're expecting an Audi to be on the pole position here. Yoski kind of said that to me. He said he'd be very surprised if McLaren was on pole. I'm not sure if he meant that he was going to take it in the Audi, but you can be sure he's gunning for it right now. As
Yeah, surely he meant.
Comes over the line, 2.2 seconds away from Yoski in 13th position. That's a good 8.
Yeah, doing good as well, Matthias. Thanks.
He has done previously. Jake de Stout here in the Nitro Velix Audi. This is a very interesting car because his teammates are all in the top 10, but he's not at the moment. This man certainly is at the pole position, but Jake de Stout really not up there with his teammates, which is a little bit of a surprise and a little bit of a disappointment, I have to say.
Yeah, as we were saying earlier, the fourth Nitro Velix car nowhere really to be seen because he's all the way down in 25th at the moment, and he may struggle now to get a lap time in that will put him up the grid, as we've seen. Even Yovsky struggling to go any faster at the moment with the way the conditions are developing, and that's really not going to play into Jake de Stout's hands.
Let me quickly
session left. With the weather getting worse,
remove that.
Actually improve up the grid.
Oh no!
As we see Asensio just tapping the wall on the outside of Sunset to finish off another lap.
Anything else?
Yeah, trying to drive as
Bear
much
with
as
me.
possible and just running out of grip, I think, on the outside there.
Yeah, just pushed too hard, just ever so
Fair enough.
slightly.
Okay, I'm
running out
back.
a
I'm
little
back
bit
live,
too wide, and
guys.
that wall can get empty very easily. Let's hope that doesn't happen early on in the race. We've seen it in the past where, you know, you can call a massive pile up there getting into those tyres, but yeah, disappointing for him. Top 4 all in the pit lane. Don't look like they're going to be going out again here in the rest of the session, as Jan Vingegaard is in 24th with a little bit of an improvement on that lap. What about Diogo Silva, who was 9th after the Monza round, 21 points off of the lead in this championship. We'll have a look at the championship standings while we're in warm-up, by the way, actually waiting for those. But early on in the season, it's not too important just yet. It's obviously you need to accumulate the points, but yeah, we're still a long way from the end of this championship. Diogo Silva can't improve. What about Fabian Barley in the Bentley? Over the line, can't improve either. 1.9 seconds away, so he's getting a little bit closer to Hanyoski, but not close enough really. Zoltan Varkingi, another good qualifying for him. He was my surprise of qualifying from Monza, and he's proving that was no fluke. 6th place for him right now, but I'll tell you, the man I'm most impressed with this time around, I have to say, is Mattia Krupi. 12th place in pre-qualifying for Monza. Couldn't get himself inside the top 15 in points after that race, but clearly he's hooked up around the wet weather Sebring International Raceway a lot better than he
what car
was
is he in, though?
Monza 2 weeks ago.
He's in a McLaren, that would be no surprise.
Yoski and the Knights of Alex cars of Hakkinen and
Then
McLaren.
Philip Joyce is struggling big time.
And of course, that will give him a prime position.
Personally,
to
I
try and take away
think
a podium, if not
the
a race
track
win,
is
if
a
he can
lot
try and chase
slower now.
down Hanyoski in the sprint race. So plenty of exciting action to see very, very shortly, with qualifying wrapping itself up in less than a minute. As we see Adam Baldwin
Although,
going
yeah,
across the line.
no one is going quicker at the minute.
87 for now, just ahead of Dries. And then just behind
Let's
those
see
two,
if someone can
this man
prove
in
me
the
wrong.
Mini Porsche, Daniel Stropowski, doesn't look to be improving that, but feeling away into the pits at the end of that lap as well. And I believe for most of the drivers, then that will be their qualifying done. Just a few cars left out in the circuit. One of them
Can't
is
wait for the
this
race,
one,
though.
Pastorino has managed to find some time in the middle sector, but the first sector was quite slow and is indeed pulling in as well. And so this looks like it may be our starting order, short of a late surprise from anyone.
It doesn't look like we're going to get any late surprises at this point. Our very own Cam Roger competing here once again for Burst Esport in the Audi, currently down in last place in qualifying. Unfortunately for him, he'll be hoping for a cleaner lap one than he experienced in the first race at Monza, because he was sent spinning off into the Ascari gravel, I'm afraid, on lap one early on last time out. So let's hope for a bit better this time. Remy Delorme, though, up to 8th place. Good qualifying from him in the end there to get himself in front of Philip Drace by 8 thousandths of a second. David Koloksai, the FSR Academy champion of last year, is over the line now, but not improving here. And here is the second race winner of our championship here for season 4 in the GT Challenge
Yeah, but
series.
as I said, no one's really improving.
It's Philip Drace making his GT Challenge debut. He's certainly never been in the Pro Series, but making a charge for it here this season, and there's no reason to suggest why he can't do it, given the form he showed us 2 weeks ago in Monza. Gabor Hevesi, also a Hungarian driver here for McLaren in a generic livery here for us today. Often does a bit of driving with the likes of Zoltan Varking. He's up in 6th place, sharing endurance cars together in the same team, etc.
So,
they'll know
the
each other
question
well.
to me will
14th
really,
position for
really
him at the
be in
moment,
those tricky
is
conditions,
all he
who
can muster
is
from this qualifying session.
Owen AK, thank you so much for the follow, first of all. And then, yeah, Lexar, Elo again, and Marco Pereira, thanks for joining. Is there a site where you can buy setups for rFactor 2? Is there for iRacing? Not yet, I'm working on this kind of stuff, but it's far from being finished, obviously, since I've got a lot of different things to do at the minute. But it's on my to-do list, you can say. So burst drivers are Robin Panzer and P19, and I think Cameron Rogers P28, P29 or something. I think they got caught out by the rain somehow. Let's see how this develops, though.
Robin Panzer is in front of Roland Zux to round out the top 20. And then as we move on down to the final 10, we'll see those guys who have struggled to get to grips really with the wet weather conditions that we have seen throughout this event so far, and it will indeed stay this way for the rest. Johan Kurjan 21st, Thomas Vac, Henry Sinnick surprisingly 23rd, Jan Venginger 24th.
I see
Nico
Cameron is
Barkley
dead
not
last. I
inside
don't
the
know
top
what's
20.
going on.
Jacob Stout as well. Just a couple of surprises
Need
there.
to
Nella
check up with the
Pastorino
guys
was
later.
unfortunately languishing outside the
Nothing,
top 20
nothing
for
too worrying
a
though.
fair amount of Monza, I'm afraid. Paul August Long got himself in a few incidents. He's 28th today. Cam Roger is going to be bringing up the rear of the field here in 29th for Burst Esport in their Audi. So that is your starting grid for race 1. The top 10 is going to be reversed for race 2, and the positions 11 to 29 are going to stay the same here for this one. But interesting qualifying position, interesting qualifying session here, Paul.
Yeah, I think
No
so too.
surprises
I'm
maybe
really
about the
expecting a
pole sitter.
crash or a pile up at some point. That's
No,
for
not
sure.
at all. Yoski once again showing the pace he's got out there, out qualifying everybody by almost half a second, and showing that he's not just a master
So,
around Sebring in the wet.
Scamming through
Wow.
the chat a little bit here in the team
I
right
think
now.
Those that we would have expected to see a little bit higher may have been caught out just because not, of course, everybody's out there fighting for track position as early as they can before the conditions get worse. I think that's caught a few of the named drivers we were expecting to see higher up, likes of
Yeah, the guys got
Stout,
caught
for
out by the
example,
rain.
caught out with traffic, and then the conditions developing and getting worse over time.
It's a bit of a different. I'm not sure if they are
Could play into
getting
the
any
reason why
pre-race
they are
information like
further
we
down,
get
and of course we know they have pace.
in
So
GT
we
Pro,
can
Formula
expect to
Pro.
see some maneuvers from them throughout
It's a bit
both
of a
races to
concern.
try and battle their way up for better finishing positions. Meanwhile, yeah, how is
So I think we have a warm-up,
championship
or
leader
is it
going to do? As we take a look
straight
at
into
rest
the
of calendar,
race?
of course,
Can't
we are
remember.
at Sebring this evening, and then in just a couple of weeks' time, we're off to Lime Rock Park.
Yeah, a little bit of an odd circuit, that one. The first of two odd circuits.
Hey
I would say.
Mario,
Lamar Park and
much
Luxury,
appreciated, man.
round 3 and 4. Then
Yeah,
we go to Spa and
race
Indianapolis,
has
two classics
gone
to end
really,
it off,
really good there,
for season 4.
especially race 1.
Yeah, this is the American leg of an otherwise.
Right, I'll be right back.
European
Actually, I
championship,
wanted to
of course,
grab
at the beginning of
myself
the
a
season,
coffee,
then we head
and
back over here
then
again
I
to
probably
Indianapolis to
started
find
the
out
stream
who
without
wins.
getting a coffee.
Obviously it's sim racing, so there's
I
no
am
worry
so
about that
sorry,
at all.
guys.
But
But
then,
we're gonna fix this.
Obviously, as you can see, Loch Drummond, fictional circuit coming up round 4 on the 23rd of September.
Loch Drummond.
Interesting to see how that
I'm not
races,
enjoying Loch Drummond
but,
nor
yeah,
Lime
do
Rock
note
Park
that
by
is
all
on a
means.
Thursday, and not a Friday, so don't come here on the 24th expecting a race, because we'll have already done it by then. I believe the announcement as to why that is going to be coming soon, but I don't know what it is, so we'll have to find. I'll find out for the
Hashtag
rest of you at home,
soon then.
at this
What
point,
is it?
And of course, many who are.
I want to
competing in
know
this
why
one,
is there a race
but,
on a
yeah,
Thursday
this
instead
is
of a
Sebring,
Friday.
the wet weather round,
Sim Racing
that
Expo.
we're seeing this
Get in
time
there.
around. Here's the format,
But
just in
actually
case.
that would already
With
be
the
announced,
fast
but
week already
well, it is
going,
announced, like we all
15
know
minutes
that
qualifying,
there
we've
is
just
Sim Racing
seen,
Expo.
that to set the grid for the 15-minute sprint race, and then the top 10 from qualifying are reversed for the 45-minute race, with the rest
Grande
of the field
Amici
staying
with
the
a
same.
coffee.
Of course, if you fancy a go at GT Challenge in Season 5, then you can, because it's open to absolutely everybody. Many splits racing every single Friday and Thursday for round 4. Yeah, you can get yourself involved if you indeed want to. Many different GT3 cars that you can choose from, of course, but the Audi, McLaren, Bentley seem to be the most.
So guys, also please, I would appreciate if you join us on the Discord that we do have, and that would be exclamation mark Discord. Other than that, guys, for those watching on
qualifying is a good idea rather than the race. And it's shown us
Twitch
that we
right
can have a
now,
few
I would
surprises as
absolutely
well. I wouldn't have,
appreciate if
pinpointed Philip Dreyer for
you
winning
click that
a-
link
winning a race
that's coming
in
up
this
when
championship,
typing in
so
sub,
early on at Monza, but he managed to come up with
as
the
I
goods
just
last
did,
week, and that's
and
that's
you hit that
exactly what
link,
this kind
give
of format
ourselves full
Absolutely, yeah. And not only that, but it does mean that we
support
get
on
to see
YouTube by subscribing to the
the
YouTube
likes
channel.
of
That would
Yoski
massively
and,
be appreciated, of
guys,
course.
Alex guys have to battle their way through as well in the feature
And
race.
I thank you so much for the support, guys. Once again, Owen, thanks for your follow. And now, well, I can't wait to get this race going. Can't wait to see high tense racing here.
And as you
But
can
probably
see
also
on
a
the
little bit of
right-hand side
wrecking.
the slide as well, the bonus
It's gonna be
prize
interesting, that's for sure.
So any GT Pro prize money that gets deducted from the GT Pro drivers when they receive penalties will be given out at the end of the GT Challenge season to the top drivers, which is a nice added bonus for those in this series coming up at the end. Of course, we don't know how much that will be or exactly who that will go to just yet, with the prize pool still building up as the GT Pro season goes forward. That is the idea behind it, and I really like that, of course. And then we got the road to GT Pro Season 5. So at the end of this season, the top 5 from the GT Challenge are directly promoted into that GT Pro for Season 5. Anybody that finishes 6th to 10th in this series will go into the relegation race, where they can fight for their seat in GT Pro. So finishing 6th to 10th, not necessarily a guarantee that you're going to be here for another season. You can go and race with some of the bottom drivers from GT Pro to try and take their seats away from them. And the reverse happens in the bottom 10 from GT Pro. As you can see there, 21 to 25 go to relegation, and 26 to 30 will drop out and join us in GT Challenge for Season 5. Of course, you can see on the right there as well, as we were saying, there's multiple splits for the GT Challenge. So round 1 and round 2 results will determine the splits for round 3. And then going forwards, it'll be rounds 2 and 3 for round 4, round 3 and 4 for round 5, and round 4 and 5 for round 6. They're also filled up dynamically every round based on standings order to give everybody a fair chance to fight at the top, which is another great way that we'll be able to see
amazing. Like as a spectator point of view, this just takes way too long.
Absolutely.
Don't get me wrong, guys.
Those guys who are threatening to get into Season 5. Let's have a look. Hanyoski is currently in one of those spaces. So is Philip Dreas. Turka Hakkinen looking to bounce straight back up as well. Christian Mikel and Adam Baldwin are the top 5 right now. And then just outside, you've got Roy McDuff, Jake De Stout, and Yimi Nisela, who are all 6 and 7 points adrift at the moment. Don't forget, it's the top 5 who automatically
adrift.
Go through, and then 6 to 10.
My goodness
are
me.
Those who are going to be in the relegation racing. You see Zoltan Barkingi filling up the final of those spots, a couple of points in front of Daniel Stapowski. And if you're wondering how they've got so many points, points are added for every split that there is. So if you see what I mean. So the top splits will be getting the most points as kind of a base thing, and then the positional points added on top of that. Whereas if you're in the bottom split, then no points added. It's just the positional splits. So it's all it all adds up like this. We've got no different standings for different splits and confusing things like that. It's just one big championship with a lot of points at the top end of town. Here's the top 30. We've just seen Henry Sinek is just outside of the top 15 at the moment. You see our Cam Roger in 21st there. Danny Kish, who wasn't here in split 1 last time out, but presumably in the second split, is in 24th, and he's the first one that I can spot not in split 1 for this one. Giuseppe Pastore is a similar one. Daniele Canestrazzi as well. And if you notice these split 2 names that I'm reading off, these are not small names.
So guys, feel free to put down questions and stuff.
Not even in the top split.
While we're listening to
GT Challenge series.
Some point situations.
It's just a very, very competitive series indeed. And not many spaces for all of these competitive drivers to get into.
No, absolutely, and you see just from those standings there, it's already
2 more minutes and warm up, and then we're gonna get this Geving.
This man Hanyoski leading the championship, but only by 1 point from Philip Dreis at the moment. And of course, that can all change throughout the race. We are expecting another stellar performance from the R8G driver, but in the wet conditions, you never know what to expect. So we could see some changes throughout that championship order throughout this race, especially as we've got some of the drivers that perhaps performed pretty well last week, struggling with the wet weather and the way that qualifying panned out before. But this man still managing to stay on top of it, Hanyoski, starting on pole for the sprint race, and of course that will translate into P10 for the
should probably
race.
start working on my bots on the Discord page, I'm afraid.
Yeah, he controlled the race very nicely. After the start, he came under a little bit of fire into the first chicane, but that was about it. After that, it was a done deal, and he set sail, something which he might be doing a little bit today for other reasons. As you can see, the guy's having controlling or having difficulty controlling these
Did he
cars.
say my name?
Block's going to be used today, and a lot of good car control. It's all about having the feel in the car today, really.
I thought I heard my name.
Yeah, he controlled the race very nicely after the start. He came under a little bit of fire into the first chicane, but that was about it. After that, it was a done deal, and he set sail, something which he might be doing a little bit today for other reasons. As you can see, the guys... Yeah, he controlled the race very...
I still kinda again heard my name, but it doesn't make any sense in that
like
regard.
it should be
Anyway.
around here on Monday for the GT Pro, I'm sure we'll see very similar scenes this evening with the conditions. Very wet once again, as we're taking a look now at all of Islam is winding up his warm-up. And back to Hanyayovsky, who's using up all the time he can. And as I say that, he pulls over and decides to call it a day for the warm-up as well. But all the drivers trying to use as much time as they can to just get the best feel they can for the cars before we go out racing. Of course, in these conditions, any extra time practicing is going to be absolutely vital just to learn where there's going to be grip and where you may struggle a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all very necessary. I expected to see the Porsches a little bit further up. You see in real life they're often exceptional in the wet weather conditions, but not with a too great of a performance. Jan Wenger couldn't get inside the top 20. Daniel Stopalski had
So,
a
I think we're
decent
about to
Monza,
go, huh?
finishing in 11th
Finally.
position after that event, but not a amazing qualifying for him. We'll see how the race treats him. Let's have a look at the starting grid then. Hanyayovsky is going to be alongside Mattia Krupi in first. It's an all-Nigel Velix second row with Turka Hakkinen leading off Christian Mikel for an all-Audi top four. Then Jimmy Nisela in the first non-Audi, fifth position for him ahead of Zoltan Barkingi. Adam Baldwin, who got a podium in the second race at Monza, is in seventh ahead of Remy Delorme in eighth. Race 2's winner last time out, Philippe Dreis, is in ninth ahead of Daniel Stopalski, who's going to be on pole for race 2 here today. Rory McDuff was just pushed out of that position. He's 11th ahead of Guillaume Mass in 12th. Fabian Bolle is in front of Gabriel
The
Hevison.
Burst guy's got a bit roasted, eh?
Diogo Silva a little bit disappointed with 15th ahead of Liam Ramps. 11 positions behind his teammate there for Satellite Racing in 16th. David Koloxai is 17th ahead of João Asensio in 18th. Robin Panzar heads Roland Zux in the 10th row. Johan Curzon ahead of Thomas Vack on the next. Then we've got another one of the Porsches alongside Henry Sinnick, who is in a disappointing 23rd. And a couple more disappointments here on the next row. Nico Barkley and Jake de Stout, two big names, a long way down the field ahead of Nello Pastorino. Paul August Lahn in one of the Bentleys is in
Where is Papa Cameron?
Volante Racing, and
Oh
Cameron
no.
Rogers bringing up the rear of the grid. 29th position for Burst Esport here today. That is your grid, 15 rows and 29 cars. All of these guys ready to get racing once again.
This is still warm up.
Imagine this is going to be the most high intensity lap 1 of the entire season.
Absolutely, yeah. Not just that, I feel like the entire race is going to have some intensity to it because of all these big names, of course.
Oh no, that is formation lap. I was about to say, what the heck?
Usually got more pace than 29th, all the way down at the back of the grid, and then just a few cars ahead of him. Some more big names, as you said, during that rundown of the grid. So I'm expecting some action from those guys trying to battle their way back to where we'd expect them to be. So there'll be action up and down the circuit. As well as everybody just trying to fight to keep the car on the road, really, with you can see just how wet it is with all the spray being kicked up just from this formation lap. So when we get to full racing speed, it's going to be a real struggle out there for every single one of these guys.
Yeah, and especially if you're at the back of the field, because with these onboard shots are a better clue than any, really. This is no joke, and this is what these guys will be seeing, but maybe even worse. You see in the middle of the pack, Rory McDuff with a lot of cars around. You can see maybe a couple of rows. You can see Adam Baldwin just is because he's got a very bright white car just in front. But other than that, you can just see bits of carbon fibre and some silhouettes, but nothing really.
Carbon fibre, I love it.
And that's going to make things
So guys, the start is about to come up.
it stays clean though. Let's hope they all stay safe throughout the opening stanza of this race. It's going to be very, very good action though for us. A feast for the spectator, certainly. The first 2 rows are filled with Audis at the moment. German machinery dominating this one with 5 in the top 6 as well, as you can see in the bottom right hand side of your screen. Jimmy Nisseler infiltrating that 5th place for him, but it's Erhan Yoski who's going to be heading the field here with his 5th pole position in GT Pro or Challenge competition here for Sebring's first race. GT Challenge Season 4. Race 1 at Sebring is underway. Erhan Yoski gets us going. Turka Hakkinen with a good start to get alongside Mattia Krupi. It's 3 and 4 wide in the background. Somebody's already gone round. I think it might be Guillaume Mas who's gone around. Oh,
what the fuck? No, wait, Cameron, have you started on the softs or what?
Who gets 2nd place in this race now. Mattia Krupi is going to try and come back at him in the Musto car, but he can't. Yimi Nisseler's made a good start as well, with Christian Mikel being pushed out for 5th place.
What have you done, Cameron?
6th, but unfortunately our fears were realised a little bit on the run down to turn 1. There are some guys spun around already, some good starts as well. The inside line prevailed massively through there.
Oh no, 24th. I was about to say this is weird though.
And Krupi suffering, of course, from Hakkinen getting past him, and same for Mikel with initially.
Yellow S1.
Baldwin's up position.
Where are the cameras?
Seems like everybody's shuffling around quite a lot as we try and find a grip on this first lap, and we're seeing already.
Oh, contact! Oh, no, I think that was Robin.
Who was not quite sure who that was that hit him.
Dear me, it's a good start from Wenger. He was up inside the top 15 very briefly. You can see it's
24th.
very, very tight here. In the back end of the top 10, Daniel Stopalski going side by side with Remy Delorme at the moment for 9th position. Squeezing there was Delorme, and Stopalski can't get through for the moment, so they have to stick in line. Just look at this though, absolutely crazy in the mid-pack. Unfortunately, we have seen a couple of guys go around. Guillaume Mas was spun around on the run down towards turn 1. David Koloksai has gone around as well. At some point, I think Johan Kurjon's made a poor start as well. He's down in 27th, I believe, down there at the moment. Sorry, he's up to 25th now, but he made a poor start. He's already over 20 seconds off of the leader, Hani Yoski, who has converted that pole position into a good start indeed.
So 24th,
and shaking as
Panzer 28, he was indeed the guy that made contact.
Well, not very many laps around here because
not sure, we haven't seen a replay yet, have we?
Made even longer by the wet weather conditions right now. They go through the bumps of Sunset Bend. No sunset today, there can be no doubts about that, but Roy McDuff,
I mean, if 20th or 28th doesn't really matter in race 1.
I suppose you can count that as a good start. 12th position after starting 11th, but Yoski has converted. It's very, very close in the mid-pack, and I have to say, the McLaren looking very strong. Even Nisseler 4th place already, and he's all over the back of Mattia Krupi for 3rd.
Absolutely, it was a stellar lap from Krupi, but I think compared to those around him, he's suffering a bit, as we do see that's Diogo Silva dropping 1, maybe 2 positions, as that's Fabian Bola making his way through as well. So very opportunistic little dive from the Bentley driver, steals another place away, and it's not what Diogo Silva would have wanted, but the guys up front, yeah, it seems on race pace, Krupi may
there's going to be a move.
Struggling in this wet weather a little bit as he
what?
What? Side by side now,
I thought there for a moment they gone 3 wide, and that should open up the door on the inside there for the other car.
And you can see 2 McLaren side by side behind him as well. So this battle's turning into.
It was important to keep the contact away though. That's for sure.
The track once more, and still side by side. You can see diving around in the background.
Bonk.
Silva's trying to make his car as wide as possible, almost being pushed around now. And some great defensive driving, and this is one of those conditions where you need a little bit of patience, but also with 11 minutes, you can't really afford to have any patience. And now we see another McLaren driver, Jimmy Nisseler, as we cut across to a replay. What's going on here with Gabor Hevesi? This is the spin at the start.
This is what happened at the start to Guillaume Mas. He's trying to anticipate here. Gabor Hevesi and Guillaume Mas was also trying to get past Daniel Stopalski. The door just shut there.
Wow.
And Guillaume Mas goes for a spin. Gabor Hevesi gets away with it, but he's detached from the back of the field right now. David Koloksai is at DNF.
127th.
Johan Kurjan has just completed a pit stop. And in GT Challenge, if you're making a pit stop, then it's gone wrong because you don't need to at any stage in the event. So that is clearly.
And even if it would have been GT Pro, or like, first of all, we're in the sprint race. Second of all, it is.
Liam Ranson is knocking on the door of a top 10 right
Why do we
now.
have a yellow flag on the main
He's into
straight?
14th. He's up 10 places very nearly.
Oh, that's because
from his
Kerjan is
starting position of
standing there.
23rd, which was pretty poor by his standards, as Daniel Stopalski was going wide through turn 1 there. I believe he might have lost a position to Roy McDuff now, as off the road in the background there. I think that was Johan Curzon rejoining, although I'm not entirely sure. This is his teammate Fabian.
Yeah, smart to just park and let the entire
Diego
grid go.
Silva. And of course,
What I would have done too in that
the battles just
position, I guess.
Continue on. Roy McDuff trying to get through on Stopalski. Liam Rance gets through on both of them. Fantastic driving from the Satellite Racing boys so early on in this race. Clearly their cars weren't really geared up for qualifying, but in the race, they've been absolutely fantastic so far.
Absolutely, yeah. They've clearly been working together to try and find a setup that works, and it's worked really well for them, as they're all absolutely flying out there at the moment in those McLarens. And I wonder if maybe they saw the GT Pro on Monday and maybe anticipated a bit of rain. Maybe they've set up their cars a little bit more towards that, which of course a risky move, but in the situation where it does rain like it is, it definitely pays off. As we cut across to another replay, and what's this going on here? It's on board with Liam Rance. I think this was that move. Just so close to the car in front, just trying to see. That's the night of cars off the road, and that itself was how.
Nice stuff from Liam Rance, though.
Away,
capitalizing on it big time.
Stole the positions.
Yeah, so Roy McDuff went off there down into turn 3, which is what it's called, even though it's really turn 2, I suppose. Had to cut across the grass.
Yeah, Mario, I don't know. Sometimes I would like to know that as well.
Both went wide, and
I'm just sorry, I got some
for Liam Rance
itchy
there.
eye.
Slip on by very nicely.
I am very much surprised that Yayovsky is not running further away from Hakkinen.
Writ large for you just there. Ninth position for
maybe he's just controlling the gap or anything.
Not a great exit from Liam Rance either, although Roy McDuff not able to capitalise, I don't think.
Well, that's really interesting.
But can't really do anything. Turn 1's not a braking zone that you have to really think about. So yeah, it's just a
if you're in a Ferrari 488 GTE, then yes.
Stopalski on the exit as Liam Rance closes in under brakes. Porsche doesn't seem to be great under brakes there.
I mean, those cars have ABS, but in the GTE I would have just shot myself.
Daniel Stopalski over 12 seconds off the leader, Yoskin drifting towards 3 seconds off of Remy Delorme. These guys are getting sucked into their own battle so much here that they are starting to lose the leaders a little bit.
Yeah, and I think this battle may go on for the remainder of the race, because every time we get to a corner, we see Liam Rance closing right in on the back of that Porsche, and then as soon as we get
but the Porsche is great in the wet, not gonna lie.
Ability to get the power down, he just pulls back.
Hey there, Gennaro.
And as we see cars
Meanwhile, we
getting
see
close together
Nisula
everywhere,
on the
this is
back end
still
of
that battle
Krupi.
for the third podium position. Matthew Krupi doing a great job so far, keeping Yumi
The
Nishio
thing that
behind him.
keeps the Audi in contention here is on the wet tyres there's no thermal degradation on the rear axis, whereas on the dry that would have been different.
He's got some pace in the wet weather around Sebring.
But it's no surprise we see a triple Audi train leading. Like, the Audi is the OP car in the GT3s around here.
Keep that up, he will be
Has been in my GT Challenge season and haven't changed ever since.
Once again, all over the back of Daniel Stopalski, but watch, as soon as we get into the traction zone, that Porsche just starts pulling away, and that's going to be frustrating for Liam Rance, because
Run's got a chance now.
Porsche's not pulling away this time. A bit of a wheel, couple of wheels on the gravel, and you can see with the slipstream, Liam Rance climbing it all over the back of him, pulls across to the
just
outside,
ABS, full lock on the brakes and send it. Not to the inside.
As he gets very, very close to the diffuser.
Oh.
Barges way up the inside, drifting a little bit, very, very close between these two.
Memories intensify.
But can't quite get the move done, and now he's got to watch his mirrors because Roy McDuff's coming for him.
Yeah, here's Rory McDuff on board with him right now. Liam Rance did try that over and under. Oh, into
Bonk.
turn one, he goes steaming in. And
Oh no,
David
they're gonna be
Sapolsky
3
goes
wide
out
on the
wide.
exit.
Pinball into turn one. And Liam Rance loses another place. He might lose 2. Diogo Silva's on his inside and braking late in the
Even
McLaren.
more bonks.
3 wide very nearly into turn 3. And that is not going to fit. Diogo Silva is on the inside still here into turn 5, and he's going to get it done into 11th position. Here comes the other.
Marco Pereira, you can register on the competition system in rFactor too. And then you can race next week already.
Liam Rance hasn't really got anywhere to go here because Diogo Silva's on the inside, but he's broken too late.
Liam is completely all over the place, like completely overdriving now, desperately trying to hold on. You're welcome, Marco.
He's done in 20th right now, but these guys still battling for 11th position.
Yes, certainly, Gennaro. He's indeed doing a good job there, being in the top 3. Like, this is a great, like, the top 10, they can easily be GT Pro material, so...
These guys are all over each other, they're slowing each other down so much.
Certainly, if you're up there in the top 3 somehow in a GT3, then you have to be considered.
For us, but not very efficient if you're trying to earn points.
Absolutely, you can see the graphic up on the bottom right of the screen there, the battle for 9th and 10th. There's like 5 cars involved in this, and I wouldn't want to predict now, even with
like Rance is sideways every single turn.
So costly as we take a look.
Is it the Lorma on the back end of Dries?
As we head down the Ullman straight.
Yeah, someone is running a lot of rear wing though, and it's not Philip Dries. Have you seen that? Like in an actual slipstream. Of course, Dries is struggling here, but let's see Delorme in the slipstream of Dries, and Dries will just pull away.
Carrying a lot more speed, able to be a lot more confident into the corners, and that's just allowing him to close in on Philip Dries every time we reach one. And as we switch now to replay of Diogo Silva, watching that battle unfold up ahead, you can see that he sees the action going on ahead and thinks, well, that's my opportunity, time to strike, and strike he does. Slots back in behind Liam Rance.
Oh, but that bonk is...
Yeah. A little bit of if-car gap going on.
Sorry, Diogo, that's not how you do it.
The door was even slightly open.
Personal opinion on it. Race director will judge it, but...
His nose in there a little bit, but that was
I hate, yeah, Robin is racing, and GT3 driving is also a bit driving with contact, but I hate this, like, you know, just bonk him left, bonk him right, and somehow bonk your way through. That's not how I consider what racing is.
Second and 5th place, respectively, in the standings afterwards. So if they continue to do this for the next 6 rounds, then they'll be on, well, with a one-way ticket to GT Pro here in Season 5. The race leader, Yoski, has got over 3 seconds right now, but this is the battle for 2nd that's going on behind. But here, Krupi's finally settled into this one. Struggled to get into a rhythm early on in this race. He was under pressure from Jimi Nisila, but now he's starting to apply the pressure himself onto Turka Hakkinen, who was relegated from Season 3 of GT Pro, where he's failed to score a podium and had overall a little bit of a disappointing season. But he's one of 3 relegated drivers trying to earn their seat back as we go to a recovering Guillaume Mas here alongside Robin Panzar, who's not having the greatest day he's ever had in a race car. It's so disappointing when so early on your hopes are dashed like they were for Guillaume Mas, and look who he's joined up with. It's Hevesy versus Mas Part 2, it seems. These two came into contact mere meters into the race earlier on, and they're back together again right now with 1.5 minutes to go, just over.
Absolutely, and yeah, that fight's going to go on to the end, as they all are. And we flick back towards the front of the field now with what is, I'm sure, is going to be the probably the final lap of the race. Looking at the timer, depends on when Yovski crossed the line, and it seems they're going 2 by 2 around at the front. We've seen obviously the battle with Hakkinen and Krupi, and then Nisila and Mikel as well, and now Philip Dries and Remy Delorme we're watching on now for 7th and 8th, as well as these two. Yao Senchal trying to go around the outside of Paulo Veslana, is it into coming out to 1 even, and Bentley driver just sliding up the inside then and holding on to that position for the time being, but it's very, very close still. You can see Yao Senchal sniffing around the back of that Bentley.
Can't wait for that
Find a way through.
second
As
race
time
to see
does run out on
Ayoski,
this race,
Hacken and Kruppi going
and,
through the
trying to make
field.
up any position they can.
There's
As,
quite a bit of
for
distance
the
between
yellows
everyone, so there should be lots of
travelling
overtaking and
across the
stuff.
gravel a little bit, as we've seen throughout this race, but nothing too major as they've got away nice and quickly. Back to the battle of the front.
Ellen, I
Really
think
very
it
close
is.
to the back of Turka Hakkinen
Just
now.
slightly.
Yeah, this is going to be the final lap of the race, and final
Well,
opportunity for
like
Kruppi to get through here
GT
on
Pro and
Hakkinen.
Monza
Let's not
put
forget,
themselves
Hakkinen's
a
gonna be
quite
starting in front of
outstanding
Kruppi
level.
in race 2,
So the
the
challenge
Musto
race
driver
was
really just
considerably
wanna get
clean.
through here, but doesn't look like he can with
But
that
here I've
exit,
seen only
from
2 or
Tower
3
Corner. Not
incidents.
quite good enough, I wouldn't have said,
None
but
of it where I
poor
would
Gaslan we
completely have
just saw
shaked my
there.
head.
13 positions gained in this race, a phenomenal effort from him to get inside the top 15 after a poor qualifying by his standards, but a great race. Daniel Stopalski has not stopped looking in his rearview mirrors throughout this one, so Liam Rance is all over the back of him on this occasion, well, still is, after he gave him a serve into turn
So
number
is
1.
Yayovsky over the line or not?
And, so is this race very nearly. The clock has ticked down to 0.
He's
and
now
we're on
coming
board
over the
with
line. So
man
there's a
who
final
is
lap
gonna win it.
anyway.
He did exactly this 2 weeks ago at Monza. He's going to repeat it for his second race win of the season. Erhan Yayovsky wins race 1 at Sebring to take his 10th victory in GT Pro or GT Challenge competition.
To be fair,
Turka Hakkinen
anything
holds on to
different
second place
than
ahead of Mattia
Yayovsky
Kruppi,
winning
and
this
Guido Missler, who
championship
comes home
with
fourth
at
ahead
least
of Christian
5
Mikel. Remy
wins
Delorme
would be a
can't quite
massive
get past
surprise.
Felix Race for 7th place, and a little bit further back it looks like Daniel Stopalski is going to hold on in front of Liam Rance and Diogo Silva, who finished in 11th and 12th respectively. Wet weather at Sebring certainly has delivered an exciting race for us here today, but a familiar winner in Erhan Yayovsky.
Absolutely. Once again, showing us why he's won two GT Pro titles. Of course, dropping to GT Challenge this season after having a pretty poor season 3. And here he is then in the Audi. Of course, pretty much lights the flag victory for Erhan Yayovsky once again. And another impressive win. I'm sure we'll see plenty more of those. There's confirmation of that win then for Erhan Yayovsky.
Yeah.
Finishing ahead of Turka Hakkinen
That's what
and
I think so
Mattia Kruppi.
too.
Finishing off the podium for race 1, Yumi Nishila P4, just ahead of Christian Mikel.
Hello, Lori, how you doing?
Just clinging on to P7 with Remy Delorme P8, Rory McDuff P9, and Daniel Stopalski holding on to 10th position.
What do you mean?
in
How
the
I'm
sprint
set
race.
on
A
that
little
chair?
further back, Liam Rance
Well, probably
has
not
to
the
settle
most
for 11th
healthy
after
way,
all
let's
his
put it
fight
this way.
throughout the race with Diogo Silva just behind him in 12th. Another one of the satellite racing cars in Henry Sinek in 13th, ahead of Fabian Ball in 14th. Paulo Ruslana, really impressive sprint race from him, up to 15th position by the time we finished, with Yara Sanchal just behind him. Nico Barclay also made up a few positions, finishing 17th, with Thomas Farsh just behind him in 18th. Jan Venniger and Zoltan Vakonyi will round out our top 20 for this race 1. We just need to take one quick look at the drivers that finished in the back 9.
Well,
So,
that is
starting positions and so on.
Robin
Pansar,
21st. What?
Esports in 21st with
Wasn't he in 28th?
in 22nd, and Gabo
And Cameron was in
who, he
24th.
had that tangle with at the very start of the race.
Ah, the
Behind
guys
him,
need to
23rd,
get up on
Jake
the grid
Stout,
like...
disappointing 24th.
Otherwise we
Lance
don't
Collins
have the
right out with
pictures.
Final satellite racing car of Nello Pastorino just behind him. Cam Roger gaining a few places in that race. Started 29th, finishing 26th with Roland Zooks and Johan Kershaw behind him, and of course David Kalotzai retiring from that race fairly early on. So that's how they finished in race 1. Of course, we now reverse the top 10 from qualifying to the grid for the feature race, and of course triple the distance. Surely that means triple the action.
Well, we'll wait and see,
no.
but I'm certainly hopeful because Daniel Stopalski is going to be on pole position, and if you were just watching Daniel Stopalski for any of that race there, you'll know that his race was quite exciting, and he was looking behind him for quite a lot of the race.
Hanging off at
and
45 degrees.
so
Oh
that
yeah,
bodes
yeah,
well
yeah.
for us. Hopefully there's a big
Yeah, you know, sitting all day, at some point you're going to start move around.
And a similar finish to GT Pro here at
Because you're
Sebring,
feeling
where it went
uncomfortable.
right down to the
In the
wire,
same position
right towards the very
24/7.
end. But Burns T-Sport were very successful on that occasion. Not quite as successful on this one, I'm afraid, for those guys, which is a bit of a shame.
Thank you.
Really for them, but,
You're obviously
you know,
right.
These things do happen. the top 10 will be reversed, and it's all about the main race now. Just a word of warning, by the way, it's difficult to do the maths in the championship right now, which is understandable, and it doesn't really bother us too much because we're only on round 2. Here is the format, by the way. We're about to see that 45-minute main race with the qualifying reversed.
Get it, Kevin!
The sprint race has points for the top 15 here in the GT Challenge Series, with 20 going to the victorious driver, and then 2 points a gap between all of them down to 6th, and then it's 1 point down to 15th, 1 point gaps down to 15th, should I say. And then the main race, 35 points for the victory in the main race, which is the reversed race, let's not forget. So it is weighted fairly heavily towards the main race, where we do see reverse grids. So you know, it does keep this championship exceptionally close, and it allows those who are, you know, well, anybody in the top 10.
That's
really,
true
be
to a
right
certain
up there.
extent.
Guys like Philip Dreyer,
Waar is mijn
Alan Baldwin,
smartphone?
we saw last time. They're right up there,
Smartphone.
despite the fact, you know, they were only just qualifying inside the top 10. They can be right up there with good performances in the main race, like we saw
Daar
last
is mijn
time.
smartphone.
Yeah, exactly. Philip Dreyer was the one I was going to point out for that. Of course, just trailing Erhan Yovski by 1 point at the moment after round 1. Of course, with his win from the feature race last week.
Right,
So,
since
yeah,
the
those
guys
points
are
for this 45-minute
mumbling
race
and
are
talking
definitely
and blah blah
vitally
blah,
important, which is why we
we're
see
about to get on the
the
tweet.
likes of Erhan Yovski battling as hard as he did last week to climb up and try and get as high as possible. Throughout that, just looking down the rest of the grid, of course, we saw Adam Baldwin was fighting Philip Dreyer right the way to the end. He's still sitting in a decent position in the championship as well after that result. Down in 5th, of course, just 8 points off Erhan Yovski, so he'll be looking for another good finish this week. Say we saw him fighting with Philip Dreyer all the way to the very, very end of the feature race at Monaco, trying to drag on that fight as long as he could, but couldn't quite get it done. Maybe we'll see something different this week. Maybe in these conditions he'll be able to find a way through if they do meet each other on the road this time out.
Yeah, let's wait and see. I've just been looking through the championship standings, by the way, and those who are inside the top 10 who have had a bad race, and I can't find anybody who's really had a poor race. They all managed to find themselves up there. Maybe Jake the Stout could be counted as one of those who had a poor one, but looking outside of the top 10 for who really had a good race, and I can only really see Daniel Stopowski from 11th having a good event in that occasion. Really, not many others outside of the top 10 really had a good go at this, so that is a bit weird to see. We're already seeing the kind of top guys getting up the order in this one, and you know, getting themselves up towards GT Pro. As we mentioned, the top 5 will be going straight through. The next 5 will be in that relegation race where they have the opportunity to get into GT Pro, the format that we're so familiar with,
Traction GG,
after these
hello.
few seasons now.
Do I see
but,
eyes there in the
very
chat?
Interesting first race. The top 10 is going to be reversed. We saw at times in Monza that overtaking was a little bit on the tricky side for some of these guys, certainly, but in the wet at Sebring, you can be sure it's going to be even more edgy. I'll say these overtakes are going to be even more nervy, and these guys are going to be very anxious about making them, I would say.
Absolutely, because there is a lot on the line, of course, with all the points being in this race, or most of them anyway. Just going back to what you were saying about drivers outside the top 10, and just taking a look through, and I think the standout's going to be Mattia Krupi. If he can get a good result here, he'll be down in 32nd.
So I think we could go back racing, isn't it?
Round. So looking at where he was before, and following the first race here, where he's going to be going out of this round of the championship, he's set to gain quite a few places.
Finally.
He is indeed, but is that enough? This is David Clark.
Oh, 6.5 minutes.
This is Amiga Sim Racing.
Are they changing servers in between, or is it a 15-minute warm-up? That is amazing.
Because you know, he didn't really have a great. Well, he did have an all right first event, I suppose. 14th position for him on that occasion. 8 points outside of the relegation race, and 22 outside of the automatic I hesitate to say automatic promotion because that references another sport, I suppose. But you know, the automatic seat in GT Pro in the 5th season of what will be GT Pro next year, you'd imagine. But yeah, David Clockside, unfortunate to see the retirement so early on. We did see a lot of chaos early on, actually. We did expect it because of the wet weather conditions. And it wasn't really a surprise. I think there was so much going on.
Chaos.
We weren't actually able to catch it all.
We're gonna find it all.
What happened to Galoxai, but it was very unfortunate for him, and he's going to need to pick himself up very, very quickly indeed if he wants to do well in this championship, get into those top 10 spots, which are so important.
How are you doing, Traction? Hope everything is
Absolutely,
great
yeah.
for you and you're looking
So
forward to
so
the
much action
weekend.
Going on track throughout that
So
first
do we,
race
of course.
that, I think it would have been impossible to try and keep up with everything. Unfortunately, we weren't able to keep up with what happened to Galoxai, but as you say, hopefully it hasn't knocked his confidence too much going into the feature race, and he'll be able to pick himself up and dust himself off and make as many positions up as he can throughout this race. As we take a look at Nello Pastorino's
So still 5 minutes to go.
at the moment.
Still gives me
Still
some time
very,
to do
very
some
wet. You can
posts.
see the windscreen wipers working overtime to try and give the drivers some vision out the front of those cars, and there, just from this onboard, you can see as well, if you weren't aware of it, just how bumpy Sunset Bend really is around Sebring. That's one element of difficulty, if I can get my words out, around this circuit already, and then you add in the rain as well, and suddenly it's incredibly difficult. Of course, this circuit is an older army airfield, which explains why it's quite as bumpy as it is, but it definitely becomes very, very challenging.
It also explains quite how flat this circuit is, the abandoned airfield, although it doesn't really mean much because in this region you'd be hard pressed to find any kind of rise in the road. You can pretty much walk from the beach straight into town without even noticing on occasion, because it just is incredibly flat around here. And Sunset Bend is very aptly named indeed, because you do get a lot of sunsets around here. There's no mountains to hide behind or anything like that, so it's just an extremely flat part of the world. But that does mean on occasion, then these bumps adding into that the water doesn't clear very easily. We've seen Sebring 12 hours in the past that have been halted and neutralised because of the weather in the past, and this is going back a long way. Hopefully, well, I'll say hopefully, probably nobody watching this will have been even alive back then, never mind remember, but in the late 60s there was
pretty much,
a very
Ellen,
wet,
but still, like, you know, for the viewer it's so bad.
I want to say 67,
Like,
but
yeah, we're doing a watch party, but right now I don't even know what to talk about. Like, same with probably with broadcasters. Like, the 15 minutes of warm-up with nothing going on. Also, as a driver, I don't want to do 15 minutes of warm-up for nothing. How is the Wex at Spa? Otherworldly X. Interesting. Like, Eau Rouge is not flat. You need to be like on Eau Rouge to make it a top and really, really good. Drive through it. Track limits super easy to cut them.
Absolutely, it was an incredible race one for the Bentley driver, and I'm sure we'll see some very similar moves from him throughout the feature race as well. As we
there's that.
Rance, who he was definitely in the wars throughout the sprint race earlier on. Saw him all over that fight for the final place in the top 10, having to settle for 11th at the end of it, and I'm sure he'll be getting the elbows out and trying to make some moves again in the feature race to make up those positions he wasn't quite able to in that first race, as well as this man, Cam Roger, made up a few positions.
Some capture work over the weekend. Can't wait to see what that is. Let me guess, it has something to do with F1, isn't it? And Alex Gillen is going to be in the major role, Traction GG, isn't it? Just guesswork, you know?
Race, just getting overtaken by Liam Rance down the inside into 3, but having a little nibble into 5, excuse me, and then a bit of a slide for the Audi through there. The McLaren certainly showed itself to be very strong over the stint though, and we're expecting in the 45-minute race coming up for it to be very good. Ron Panzo was telling me that it does have good straight line speed and overtaking shouldn't be too difficult, but the Audi that we're on board with right now, talking to Hani Yoski about this, but that it can navigate the bumps very, very well indeed.
So just
And
2
in terms
minutes
of
to
that
go.
raw pace, especially over one lap, the Audi does just have the edge, and the traction that it has out of these slow corners can be put to good use as long as you keep the rear tyre temperatures in check, is what Erhan told me. So yeah, be watching out for those in the coming race though. 45 minutes coming up though after this warm-up is over, and plenty of guys like this man aiming to get up there, and maybe we'll see a surprise race winner here once again. Daniel Stopowski holding on for pole. Why
Let's
not?
see, I'd say, huh?
Yeah, I mean, we saw the surprise result last week, and we could well see it again. Of course, with the conditions as tricky as they are, anything can happen. So,
Yeah, klar.
don't go anywhere, because we're just under a minute to go in the warm-up. We'll be starting that feature race very, very soon. Of course, we saw this man, Adam Baldwin,
Yeah, can't wait, guys.
run a race
You're
for
late.
Baldwin last week, taking it all the way to the checkered
Oh, it
flag,
takes
not
so
quite able to
long.
pull it
It's
off.
incredible.
Be trying to do that again in the Juice's car. And there'll be plenty of fighting up and down the grid, plenty of drifting around the corners as we see. It looked like Adam Baldwin was getting himself a little bit of a drift on through Sunset there as well. All the bumps and the water around. As warm-up comes to a close, we're getting ready to go for our feature race.
Adam Baldwin will be in the upper half of the top 10 for this race coming up here. Juice's Motorsport Club driver, who came up short just about in the second race in Monza. The feature race, the main race, if you want to call it that, as opposed to the sprint race of
Yay!
first
Get
time
in there,
around
Lewis!
here in these events. We're at Sebring for the second round of the GT Challenge Series here in Season 4. We'll be heading off to Lime Rock Park in 2 weeks, where I imagine lap traffic might even come into it, because it's a very short circuit around there, but a fairly long one on our hands here today, over 2 minutes in the wet weather conditions. So we're going to be seeing just about 20 laps, maybe just over that. We only got 7 in for the 15
Damn it,
minutes
I
of
did the
race one.
mistake.
But yeah, just around about 20 laps is expected for race 2 of round 2 here at Sebring International Raceway. And here we go.
Let's
for
see
the main
if we
race.
can
This
fix
is your starting
it.
grid. It's going to be Daniel Stopowski in the Porsche alongside Philip Drace, looking to repeat
Probably
his Monza
not.
success in second. Remy Delorme sneaks
we
himself
can,
into third
actually.
ahead of Adam Baldwin, who missed out very closely just 2 weeks
I
ago.
think.
Zoltan Barking is in the top 5 once again ahead of Yemi Nisler, who had a strong first race. Then it's Nigel Velix on the 4th row, sharing the grid here once again for the 4th time this season it will be now. Mattia Krupi in 9th place ahead of Erhan Yoski in 10th. Roy McDuff just missed out and he's 11th ahead of Guillaume Mas, who had a disastrous race one. He'll be in 12th. Fabian Barley is
Finally,
in 13th.
we
Gabriel Hevesi
finished.
was, causing that incident with Guillaume Mas. He'll be 14th ahead of Diogo Silva and Liam Runts, and all McLaren 8th row.
Right, so Robin in 19th, and then I think we have Cameron Roger in 29th again.
In 18th, Robin Panton 19th ahead of Roland Zux, who is in 20th. Johan Curzon had to pit in that last race, which wasn't good at all. He's ahead of Thomas Vac.
It's a
who had
hush-hush
very quiet
project,
first race,
I
and not
see.
particularly successful.
Yeah, Traction, I hope you're
James
gonna enjoy the
in
race
23rd
as
ahead of
well.
Jan Wenginger, Nico Barkley, Jake de Stout in 26th.
Happy to have a chat later,
Who was the biggest mover
if
forward
you're up for it.
in the
But
first race.
yeah,
Cam
now we're
Roger,
going
who
into
props
the
up
formation
grid
lap
here
to
once
finally
again.
resume racing.
More action, more excitement expected
Can't wait.
in this second 45-minute race. I'm very much looking forward to it.
Yeah, not
Absolutely,
just
yeah.
you.
We've seen loads of action in the first 15 minutes with 45 more ahead of us. We're going to see plenty more, especially from this man, Erhan Yovski. Saw him on pole, run away with it in race 1. Now he's going to make some overtakes if he wants to do it again in race 2. We saw him making the moves last time out at Monza, managing to finish on the podium then. We'll be aiming for that once again this time. And what can that man alongside do? Ruby in the Audi alongside, of course, with that stellar qualifying performance and managing to hold on for the podium in race 1.
Can't wait
Whether he will
for
be
this
carving
race
the
now.
way
This
for
is gonna be
Yovski
huge
or
madness, though.
It remains to be seen because Yovski does have to get past him first. But there's plenty of action up ahead, and as you can see, it's still absolutely soaking wet here at Sebring. Just to have that
Noise,
extra element
soaking
of
wet at
difficulty and
Sebring.
surprise throughout the grid.
That's what we want to see, right?
Visibility once again, really not very helpful for these drivers. You can barely see 2 cars in front of you as we head down towards
Barely
sunset,
see
getting ready to
anything.
start the race.
We are indeed 4th race of this season.
That's exactly how I felt in the GT Pro.
Here at Sebring, and as I mentioned, the 4th race, but the first time that a Porsche has led us to green. It's going to be Daniel Stopowski with the inside line going into turn 1, and we saw how advantageous that inside line was here in the sprint race a little bit earlier on. Multiple guys putting that to very good use indeed. We'll see if Daniel Stopowski can convert from this pole position to a lap 1 lead. He's got Philip Dreis alongside him.
So here we go, finally.
Adam Baldwin just in behind. 45 minutes of racing at Sebring. It's underway now. It's a good stop from everybody in behind, and not a great one from the front rows. Daniel Stopowski on the inside. Oh, Krupi's gone.
What the fuck?
Hope they all get through there safely. Philip Dreis has made a great start. He's in the lead again.
Have you seen that Audi absolutely rocketing into the back of that other guy? How did they not spin?
Christian Mikel flying start. 4th place.
What the fuck?
Likewise, 5 places gained for him. Hanyoski's gone absolutely nowhere. Zoltan Varking, he's staying where he is as well. Not Velix have had a stormer early on here.
Yeah, we saw Adam Baldwin's drop down to 12th. We saw just as they were coming out of turn 1, he was forced out wide, and that's cost him a fair few positions. And Yumi Nishila has managed to nip in ahead of her. And Yovsky, you can tell from that inside line, that was a big drift as we are on board with Hakkinen now.
Wow.
Being very close.
What have I just seen there?
And Krupi's going to be just behind, sniffing around, trying to make some more positions. And to answer that question, is it going to be Krupi leading Yovsky through the field, or is it going to be the other way around at the moment? Krupi has stayed ahead, but he has just started a battle now with Nisha. You can see them swapping positions constantly on the timing board. And there they are, side by side. Up ahead, that's Mikel up the inside of Remy Delorme.
Oh, good cutback. Very good cutback from Remy Delorme, and he's going to try and get through again here as they go through the very fast left-handers. They squeeze each other on the way in as well. There's a bit of grass that you don't want to be clipping on the right-hand side, but Delorme's held it there nicely. Inside line for the final bit of chicanes here into Le Mans as well.
Krupi has dropped to 9th.
Straight.
So can't wait to see movement starting.
Single filing themselves up.
Yellow in S3.
11th place on the grid.
Honda on 21st.
I'm
I'm surprised, so coming back to the question of Alan Terzic, how clean is GT Challenge? Well, arguably it's not bad.
Trying to make a move here into Sunset Bend. He doesn't look like he's been too successful. He's trying to hang it around the outside. This will be quite spectacular.
Yeah, that dry spot under the bridge can be dragging off so much, and yet now see those Nito Velox cars maybe cooperating themselves.
Hakkinen here, because Hakkinen could very well get involved. Varky breaks early though, and very smart indeed, very smart driving.
Who's gone off?
Sorry to talk over you there, Ewan. McDuff's had an incident somewhere through that final few corners. He's dropped right the way down. You just saw his name tumbling down the order.
Oh, some car disappeared.
To him in a little while, but he's all the way back down now. So that's that.
Where's that second Nito Velox car?
It's now only 2, and of course that promotes everybody else up a position. So all the way down, you've got Nishal up to 6th, Varkany 7th, Krupi 8th, and Yovsky 9th. So Baldwin into the top 10 now as well. And that's incredibly unfortunate for McDuff.
Did you also see that one car disappearing?
Solid start to this race, and just one mistake, so costly as Krupi now battling with Varkany and going off. Was that going wide in the background down to 11th?
Yeah, Yovsky into 7th. Someone's missing there. Who's missing?
Going on back here, all sorts happening. Yovsky's got 3 places in this lap here. Fantastic lap as we're on board with Adam Baldwin not having such a good time of things. Up in front, Varkany. I believe
missing?
That might have been the one who was going wide. There was all kinds of things going on, and Roy McDuff is a DNF. I'm going to speculate
McDuff
that
isn't
there might
DNF.
be some connection problems going on there, although that is complete speculation. I've got absolutely no idea as to what the actual cause
Oh yeah,
of that
McDuff was it.
is.
True.
However, I believe it could be some kind of technical problem, some kind of connection problem going on there. Yovsky hasn't had quite a successful start as he did last time on the first lap, but he's made up some great spots in the second lap here. I'm sure we'll have some replays coming up soon if we can even take our eyes off this action going on up front at the moment. And here we go with a couple of things that are going on. This is Yovsky into the hairpin on this occasion, And yeah, let's wait and see.
Ah.
So Matej Krupi was going down the inside of Nisila there. And it's,
Shame.
It's halted Varkin.
And Jajowski obviously is not going to be asked twice for that.
Through the parted doors there and get through. That's very helpful. But Matej Krupi, we saw it into turn 1 as well. Just a little bit over aggressive maybe into these corners, into these braking zones.
Whoa, what is going on there in the back around P14?
Maybe feeling the pressure a bit behind the wheel, maybe just trying to fend off those behind him, but carrying just a little bit too much speed there.
Hans on 18th, keep working guys.
Now having to recover
You are doing goody.
Cut to another replay. What was this? This is the onboard of Matej Krupi diving up the inside. That was a
nice
very
move.
clean move up the inside of Sunset. Showing if you can carry that speed and get away with it, that's how it's done. And he'll be looking to do that a few more times in this race to recover back to where he was. As we take a look at Christian Mikel now trying to chase down on Stepowski in that Porsche. We saw him leading away, and Philip Dries trying to repeat 2 weeks ago, running away in the lead at the moment. Mikel's going to want to set off after him. As we've heard, that McLaren's got some race pace in it, so it's going to be a tricky job.
It is indeed. This pack right now are battling, but Philip Dries is not getting away particularly at the front of this field right now. He's got on a seconds over Daniel Stepowski, but not much more, and probably should be getting more at this point. Stepowski going to be disappointed to have lost the lead so early on, though, because he had pole position. And as we saw,
yeah, but you know, a pole position is not really pole position. All you need to be is in front row. To be fair, in GT Challenge, maybe it's even more beneficial to be in P4 or P3 due to the slipstream, depending on what kind of turn 1 you're driving towards to. Maybe different for Lochtrum and
he's defending now though, and this isn't tentative at all. Christian Mikel on
Lime
the
Rock
outside
Park.
line. Don't forget he started on the
But then I
fourth row of
think
the grid, and he's already
for
onto the podium,
Indianapolis
battling
and
for
for
the
Spa,
top two
no,
spots.
for
We've still
Monza
got
and
nearly 40 minutes
wait,
to
Monza
go
we were.
of this already, and for
For
the
Spa
race, he's
and
gonna go for a
Indianapolis,
wide line on the
it's
entry, and a
surely
tighter exit to get
probably
this
interesting to be
traction
second or
on
third
the
even.
Porsche, which is difficult to do, but the Audi does have some pretty good traction. Not quite good enough.
Maybe third is the
Into turn
best
one, you wouldn't
opportunity there.
imagine. It's going to be a big dive into a very fast
Because
corner,
third,
but
you know,
he's not
you
gonna go
can
for it.
have a
Daniel
run.
Stepowski goes wide and opens the door for Christian Mikel, and he does need a second invitation.
Around turn 1 and then
Through
sit
goes
yourself the
season
slipstream
7 VEC
overtake
champion into second place, and now he can start to
Lacombe
apply the
then.
pressure to the one-time
And then
race
for the
winner
main
already
race,
this
actually,
season,
you're
Philip
a row
Dries.
further.
Yeah, that was
So, yeah, that's
a great move
beneficial.
to capitalise on just the lack of grip there for Stepowski. He seems to be really struggling through turn 1 in this race. We saw it on lap 1, of course, losing the race lead, and then, of course, here in lap 3 as well, as we take a look back at Rance, and then back to this battle, actually, because Remy Delorme is coming up very quickly on the back of Stepowski now. He's had to defend from an Audi. Now he's defending from the McLaren. Definitely struggling a little bit for grip to see just how little you can see from inside. This is on board with Hakkinen behind Delorme. And you just can't see anything in front of you with these cars going full whack around here. That's how much spray is being kicked up. So you really need to know your braking points around here in the rain, which of course is difficult in itself because there's very little grip out there.
Looks worse than it did in race 1 to me. Yeah, this looks worse. Yeah, it's incredibly hard to see. Stepowski tips a wheel onto the grass on the left-hand side there, and he's losing a bit of pace right now. Christian Mikel's able to get away here, and Remy Delorme starting to apply a bit of pressure later on the brakes, and the Porsche does seem to be struggling on the entry to corners, certainly, which is not helpful when trying to defend. You can see a real stack up now. Remy Delorme is here. Check Hakkinen's here, and that's an invitation once again. Daniel Stepowski.
Oh, that's going to be interesting.
And Remy Delorme is also going to get to the inside line, but the Porsche's got some good straight line speed. Delorme without slipstream, as opposed to the other two in this fight. We're on board with
Yeah, but
Hakkinen,
slipstream
who's
isn't
going
really
on
a
piece
thing
of
here.
this
It's just a
outside
late
line of
lunge on the
Delorme.
brakes. It
Looks
was
like he's got that done. We're nearly
could be a
3
smart
wide
move
from
of that
Sunset
Audi.
Bend.
Let's
This
see.
is remarkable. Hakkinen goes for the widest
Wow.
entry you've ever seen, and the greatest exit. He might have got it as well. Delorme tries to get through, and he's just about cleared the Porsche, has he? No, Stepowski fights back. with a bit of straight line speed, and he's going to get the inside line.
No, 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 not 3 wide, guys.
Inside of both of them nearly. He has to back out of the move on Stopowski.
Who's coming up the inside there?
Both of them. Is he going to try and get them both? Oh, here comes the McLaren of Nisela on the inside. He's going to try and get them
Great
both.
stuff.
And he might well do. Delorme gets stuck on Nisela, and they're still side by side. Look, Hakkinen wants a piece, but can't find anywhere to go.
Nisula, great stuff there.
And somehow they've not changed positions at all.
Yeah, somebody phoned the police. There's been a robbery. Yumi Nishula coming up and absolutely stealing the places away while these guys are all fighting up front. That was the most opportunistic move I think I've ever seen, and he makes it stick in absolute style around Sebring.
Yeah, that was
just coming from
a grand one.
McLaren, sliding on up the inside, saying thank you very much, and then driving away again. That was a phenomenal overtake from Yumi Nishula, and these guys still not done yet with Hakkinen coming under pressure now from Yuyovski as well. Both of these guys in the Audis, of course, so no real car advantage. It's just down to who's braver around here at the moment, who can find the grip. And from the way the pace is looking at the minute, it could be Yuyovski, but now Christian Mikel closed right the way back up onto Philip Dries. Of course, Dries won 2 weeks ago in the feature race, but he's coming under all kinds of pressure once again here, this time from Christian Mikel in the Audi, and we've got 34 minutes to go.
And meanwhile, Yuyovski past Hakkinen.
As we head into Le Mans and gets that position done, and that's P5 for Yuyovski now.
Amazing. And next up is Nisula then. Yeah, Yuyovski is able to win this.
Seeing all kinds of positions changing there. He was trying to go forwards, but ended up going backwards in this whole situation. 6th place for him now, as Nisula was taking advantage of everybody. Speaking of bravery, by the way, Philip Dries is going to need a very big drive here to get the win ahead of Christian Mikel. It's going to be a big defence, and it's already begun with over half an hour to go in this race for the NeveRacing.com McLaren. Over the line they go again, and into turn 1. They've got 3 seconds over the pack, which is still being headed by Daniel Stopowski, but a tighter line on the exit from Christian Mikel. He's going to give him the inside line for turn 3, which is very important. Is he letting off on the brakes? No. Philip Dries cuts across the nose, brakes later, and slams.
It's gonna be like those two guys. They should not be fighting with Yuyovski coming from behind. Like Yuyovski is already nearly on the back end on Nisula. They lost a half a second already, but I'm not racing, I'm just watching. What the late lunge! Can he set up the exit?
There's no room out there really for him.
I would have tried setting up the exit.
And he has to stay behind it once again. Let's take a look at a replay of this madness on board with Yumi Nishula, because it was quite spectacular going on up in front of him.
Absolutely, you can see that battle going on up ahead. You can see just how far back Yumi Nishula came from. He just decided to cut back across the
what
inside.
a nice slingshot to the inside there, though.
Took his opportunity.
Absolutely amazing.
Stealing those positions away, and meanwhile the fight behind carries on, and then definitely makes his presence known as he keeps it up the inside and holds on to the positions. As we take a look back now to just the battle for the lead. Christian Mikel still side by side with Philip Dries and getting it done. So much more speed through there that Christian Mikel
must have been
a in the Audi.
Issue with Dries.
Clearly in these kind of conditions, the Audi's not too bad either. Absolutely blasting around the outside, and now as we get on to
Nisula on the back of that Porsche, but look! Yuyovski is about to get P4 now from Nisula, then easily going to go by Stepkowski.
It happened. Let's see how some of the battles further back happened. Erhan Yuyovski, this is on Turka Hakkinen, by the way, into the chicanes at the end of the lap. It's very, very high risk going around the outside here. But Yuyovski was
there you go, already passed.
Ahead of Yumi Nishula. He's on a charge here at the moment.
He's gonna lock out that event. I place my bet here.
Corner, because normally you wouldn't get such a fantastic exit to be able to make the move like that without a mistake from the guy in front. So I'm
oh, Rory, what a shame.
Been a mistake from Philip Dries in that
one. Really sorry to hear that, man. We were looking for a good and strong result, that's for sure.
It may have just cracked momentarily
I hope you do have a little bit more luck with connection in the next couple of races. Meanwhile, Panzer has climbed up to P14, which is great.
A little bit at Monza, but we saw it writ large for us about half an hour ago in the sprint race earlier on. Now he's doing it again in the main race, and holding the two-time GT Pro Series champion behind him, along with another one of those demoted from GT Pro last season, Yimi Nisela. This is how Johan Jojoski exchanged positions with the Finnish driver. Looks like a simple move into Sunset Bend. That arguably started through Le Mans there, and he would have got a good exit off of there to be able to get himself up the inside. But there's so much happening, it's hard to know where to look at the moment. You've got to say, though, it's only a matter of time before Jojoski gets himself arguably into second ahead of Stopowski.
Yeah,
absolutely. As well, depending on how he picks himself up in this race.
Yeah, it's been once again a stellar drive from the two-time champion, just picking his way through the field, not being in any mad rush about it, just biding his time, waiting for the chaos to settle and choosing his moments, as I'm sure he's going to do with Stopowski as well. Of course, we saw earlier on, Stopowski's definitely able to defend in that Porsche, but I think it's an entirely different thing when you've got Jojoski in your rearview mirror. That move is going to be happening fairly soon, I would imagine, and then it's just a question of how much further along can Jojoski get. We saw him take a podium in the feature race, having started way back last week. How high up the podium can he get this week as we take a look at another replay? This is Christian Mikel, and how he got that move done then.
Yeah, was quite obvious that he must have done a mistake there.
Outside, and that was an easy move done. Able to carry so much more speed with a cleaner exit, and around he went.
Yeah, straight through and into first place for Christian Mikel. We'll see if he can hold on. This is a little bit further back with Robin Panzer, who had a good Monza, but not a particularly great start to this one. 12th place in the standings coming into this one.
It's not bad either, isn't it?
He won't be there if the points were calculated now. He wouldn't be there right now. Does need a good main race here, and it looks like he's getting it. That's not Cam Rogers, excuse me. That's Mattia Krupi in the Musto car, not having a good time of things. That was quite a remarkable save from Diogo Silva in 13th position there. Robin Panzer could just watch and hope that he wasn't collected.
Well, Panzer's front end is already bent, as we can see.
Such a good main race compared to his sprint race, where he was very good indeed. This is Johan Jojoski getting in front of Daniel Stopowski. But let's watch for that Porsche coming back at it on the straight here. It's
no way.
Straight, but there will be straight line speed coming into effect. The brakes on the Audi will do him some favours. Jojoski, can Stopowski keep his nose in? No, absolutely not.
Like, this is why I was so surprised of Jojoski only being a few seconds away from Häkkinen, I think, in the sprint race. Because he is in a different league.
Relegation.
Stopowski's coming back at him.
Stopowski's coming back at him, excuse me. So here comes Stopowski, but has to back out of it, and here
Nisula
goes Nisula down the inside into the final chicane.
What?
And there he goes, straight through.
What?
Into
Another
place
opportunistic
now.
move.
So that was very impressive indeed. Jojoski and Nisula are both now released, and Stopowski has got more work to do actually, with Häkkinen behind him once again.
Yeah, absolutely, and I'm wondering if he's going to be ruining thinking about that move as we cut to a replay of Jojoski getting past Stopowski then. Was down on the brakes, expect him to cut back across as he does.
Yeah,
drive out as
Porsche over the grass there. Rip.
And just holds the inside.
It's not really how it works.
Yeah, I'm wondering if Stopowski's starting to regret a little bit, as this was how he was able to come back at Jojoski. Just Jojoski going wide, a bit of an uncharacteristic mistake there from Jojoski, especially in these conditions. He's got tangled up with him, in fact, and that's where he ended up backing out of it a little bit, just bashing side panels together, and of course losing the momentum. Yimi Nisela was there once again to steal the position away.
Absolutely, it's very good opportunistic driving once again from the Finnish driver as Diogo Silva. Oh my goodness me, that wasn't the best rejoin we've ever seen. And nearly caused a big accident with Jan Wenginger coming around the corner there. I think that might be Paul
Silva again
having an absolute blinder in 18th position.
Happily everyone is still right, pointing the right direction.
Back even further. Johan Kersjan is in 20th at the moment. It's the first time we've seen him really today, because He had a poor start to the day, but here comes Silver on Coloxite. A little bit flustered maybe.
Yeah, I hear you, Rory. I hear you.
Silver is getting right back on with it there after that mistake into turn 1.
Bonk,
And
another
side by
bonk.
side between the two of them here once again. Silver
Robin
recovers
Panzer,
and
meanwhile in
gets
the
back
13th.
into 18th position.
Very
Coloxite
nice.
pushed down to 19th. And
Keep
the
pushing.
Hungarian really does need a good result if he wants to get himself back towards the top 10 after a disappointing first race. It is all going on, but you'd expect mistakes in these kind of conditions. Let's see what happened. Was it on his own? Did he get help? Maybe. It was just completely on his own. That's very rare to see.
Yeah, just losing the back end in the wet conditions, and around that McLaren went. So very unfortunate. Here it is from the outside. Yep. No help at all. Just ran out of grip, which is incredibly unfortunate, and now has a load of work to do to get back to where he wants to be. And speaking of work to do to get to where he wants to be, Philip Dryce, last week's feature race winner, now coming under all kinds of pressure. And Yovski's closed right up to the back of the McLaren now. One Audi's gotten past Philip Dryce already in this race, and I feel like we may be seeing another one soon. As Yovski definitely looks a lot more comfortable in these conditions. And with 24 minutes still to go, the question has to be asked at this point is, can Yovski pull off a double race win here? I'm probably going to curse him by
It's
bringing
not
up
about
this early
if,
in the
it's
race,
about
but
when,
of course, won the
actually.
sprint race, and he's very swiftly catching up to the race leaders here as well in the feature.
I would be surprised if he's not
Yeah, he is, but
locking
nearly
that
half
round
of
up.
the race gone now.
Out.
Christian Mikel is not a bad driver by any stretch of the imagination. So he's going to need a big drive to get there. Would be very impressive, but he nearly did it at Monza. Although chasing down guys like Philip Dryce and Adam Baldwin instead of Christian Mikel. No disrespect to those guys, but I would say Mikel has slightly got the edge over them, judging by pre-qualifying, the qualifying so far, and indeed the standings and the races so far. But let's wait and see. Yoski's got to get past Dryce first before he worries about the race lead at all, and he'd rather do it before Nisula gets here, because we know what Nisula's like. And up the inside goes Yoski. Dryce fights him hard though. The two rubbing door panels just ever so slightly through the right hander there. They're still side by side. And Nisula is a class opportunist. He might try and get involved here. And this is what Yoski was trying to avoid. Up the inside into Tower. The two get connected. Nisula tries to get involved. Using
yeah,
his optimism
Yoski,
that we've
good
seen
move.
so far in this race. He's been fantastic in these situations, but the situation didn't quite arise. It wasn't quite right for him on that occasion. Either way, Erhan Yoski does get through on Dryce, and it was a good fight in the end. He put up a good fight, did the McLaren.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm thinking, given all of these opportunities we're seeing taken by Yumi Nishila, we might need to rename him the Cat Burglar after this race, because he's been up there constantly stealing positions away at any opportunistic moment he can, and it looks like he's about to gain another one as we head down towards sunset, sniffing around the inside of Philip Dryce. Holding off for now under.
It's good racing between those guys, though.
It's a very long corner. He may be able to come
Like,
back
really
and
good.
exit, or flick across to the other side to try for the inside line. Meanwhile, though, don't rule this one out. Hacking down in P5 in the Knight of Alex car. Watching these two up ahead, maybe trying to take a leaf out of Yumi Nishila's book, and thinking about how he's going to be able to steal the position away from either one of these two in the coming laps as well.
Yeah, let's wait and see. Nisula's the meat in the sandwich, which he hasn't been so much this race, really. Hakkinen is going to be trying to do Nisula's job, it looks like. The two Finns, 4 and 5 right now, excuse me, behind Philip Dryce, who's trying to hold on to as many positions as he possibly can, but things not quite falling the way they
So I'm
did
interested to see if Yayovski's able to pull out that 4.5 second gap towards the end of the race.
Out there, just moving in the mirrors a little bit, trying to distract
think he
Dryce
can.
that little bit, but not able to get through on this occasion. Remy Delorme is not too far behind as well. After all of this, he's been shuffled back ever so slightly, but trying to get back involved in the fight now. Certainly seems that Dryce is just making a few mistakes under the pressure of these guys right now. We didn't see him put under huge pressure in Monza. He was happy to kind of ride with Adam Baldwin throughout most of the race, and this is a situation we just didn't see. Nisula's down the inside into Tower Corner. Oh goodness, that's so close. And they didn't
but fair and square racing. Guys are doing an amazing job there.
Nisula, but is he going to be given the room to breathe here? Not quite, because he doesn't have the car alongside. So he's going to have to stick behind just for the moment. But this is really starting to hot up now, and you're thinking it's only a matter of time that Nisler and Hakkinen actually make their way through.
Yeah, absolutely, and you can see on the Nisler's car there just how much he's been in the wars with these opportunistic moves.
There's quite some damage on already.
There he was again, climbing almost into the boot of the guy in front there, and definitely need to get the iron out at the end of this race because there's some crinkles in that McLaren. Not that I'm sure Jimmy Nisler cares as he tries to go around the outside of Philip Dryce at Sunset now. Will he be able to hang it around? Will he try and come back? But of course, while he's doing this, Hakkinen's on the inside of him. And now those two are side by side, and Hakkinen taking a leaf out, and Nisler's put them as we head down towards turn 1. Nisler's still going to have the inside line. Will he be braver on the brakes? Let's wait and see as we go down into turn 1 then. Not a huge braking zone, and Hakkinen's still holding on to that outside line. I feel like these two could be side by side as we carry on down towards turns 2 and 3. Nisler just about able to get a better drive out and holds on to it for now, but if that's not a warning
That
shot
all in that rain, like I know I've been there, it's incredible, like especially when the sun is shining and things are so blurry and white and
now look at this in the McLaren. They've been fighting so hard that Delorme's here, so's Adam Baldwin, who's getting involved for Deuces Motorsport Club, but it doesn't look like there's going to be any moves down into the hairpin.
Robin Punzer to 10th. That is an amazing drive so far.
Towards the front of this field right now. Let's have a little bit of a replay of Daniel Stepalski here. What are we going to see here? I think that might be Matej Krupi just behind in the rearview mirror. You can see in the top of your screen, although I'm not entirely sure. Oh, it's a spin for it's a spin for Daniel Stepalski. He keeps it out of the barriers, but a spin on his own.
Yeah, that is a shame though.
For him today, 9th place right now, and yeah, a real shame to see that his race is really falling apart, and he's having a lot more defending to do here.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of defending, Hakkinen was trying to defend against Delorme there, but he just lacked any kind of a really decent exit there. And meanwhile, Bryce and Nisler still fighting up ahead as well. There's action all the way up and down the field as we're now taking a look at on board of Jimmy Nisler as Philip Dryce looks to be going a bit wide there. The back end.
Yeah, Nisula, that's the job done.
Jimmy Nisler up to 3rd position, then
that's the jobby done.
Into Sunset. I don't think he'll be able to, because the amount of momentum he would have lost on the exit there, he is just falling in behind. Meanwhile, there's more side-by-side action down behind. That's Adam Baldwin up the inside into Sunset, and there's positions changing hands all over the place. Yeah, that was Hakkinen going wide. My mind was trying to comprehend what was going on. There was so many things to process at that one point in time. And Adam Baldwin, who was at the inside, now having to defend from Hakkinen as well.
Yeah, he's trying to follow Delorme through. Oh, contact! Oh, they've held on to it somehow. Baldwin keeps it on the straight, and
wow.
Hakkinen's able to get back through on him.
How is Hakkinen still pointing straight?
Mass just in behind, in 8th position. Goodness me, this battle towards the front involving all of these guys has been absolutely phenomenal. So
and then Punzer is right on the edge of Stepkowski. Sorry.
Big save from Adam Baldwin, especially, who was right out sideways, the man from Los Angeles, but gets himself back into the circuit without too many problems. Nisler's now on the podium, by the way, ahead of Dryce, as we just seen. Delorme and Baldwin initially got through on Hakkinen, but as you can see, Turker's managed to get himself back in front of the McLaren, and it's all invited Guillaume Mas here. It's been a really, really entertaining battle for these top few positions. You know, the battles involving Daniel Stepalski and Philip Dryce especially have been fantastic this race.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody really showcasing their talent in this race, which you kind of have to do when it rains as much as it has. And yeah, I'm absolutely loving the way these drivers are still just able to properly throw these cars around and make these moves happen on what looks like an ice rink. Because who's that facing the wrong way in the background? That's Turker Hakkinen's gone round.
And that is 9th for Robin.
And he's lost so many places. Oh, this is absolutely disastrous for Turker Hakkinen. Dear, oh dear. Jake the Stout we're on board with right now.
I'm surprised that Yajowski is not yet faster than Mikkel at the front.
For Nitro Velix here, because Roy McDuff, don't forget, is a DNF, and 2 of their cars now outside of the top 10. They are winning this one, but apart from that, it's really a case of salvaging something from this race for Jake the Stout, and indeed Hakkinen, who's gone for a spin at Tower Corner, and this is terrible news for his championship, no less as well. Came into this one 3rd place, only 8 points in front of the cut-off line with Roy McDuff in 6th place, but he doesn't have to worry about him too much, nor Jake Stout, but he does have to worry about Jimmy Nisela, because he was only 9 points in front of him before this one. But I think his compatriot's going to be jumping over him, but at this point, if things stay as they are right now. Here is Daniel Stopalski defending again. This time for 8th place in front of the Swedish driver Robin Panzar for Burst Esports, not quite able to do anything on this occasion though in the McLaren. As meanwhile, a little bit further back, Krupi, Varkingi and Hakkinen can't leave each other alone. I think Varkingi has held on. Krupi has actually got through on him, and Varkingi has been shuffled all the way back from 10th place down into 12th in the matter of a corner. It's all going on. Still, including Turkka Hakkinen. Wherever he goes, the battles seem to go with him.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Rip.
seems a few of the drivers on a bit of a recovery now. Of course, Krupi's dropped down after a little bit of a spin earlier on, trying to recover. Hakkinen now trying to do the same, as well as this man, Daniel Stopalski, also trying to make a bit of a recovery as well. And it's meaning we're seeing plenty of overtakes coming up. And just to update, I've been watching the timing on the left-hand side, and I'm wondering if Yovski may slow. I'm wondering if he's just had a moment actually looking at that. He was closing right away in on Christian Mikel, but not.
No, the gaps are jumping around. Just
live. I'm wondering if
don't
Yovski
over-exaggerate on it.
Be able to close that gap. We'll have to wait and see. As it's yo-yoing around all over the places. They hit different corners and so on. As we're seeing a little replay in the bottom there of the move being done, and that was Adam Baldwin up the inside into Sunset, and yeah, there it was. Turkka Hakkinen going out wide.
This is Adam Baldwin with Turkka Hakkinen. Yeah, you're right. So first of all, Remy Delorme got through. Adam Baldwin followed through, and then you're about to see the biggest wiggle that we've seen so far today. There it is.
What
Just
a
in there,
send.
a big hit to the back of Delorme. I didn't quite see that at the time.
What a send.
Turkka Hakkinen was able to muscle his way through onto the grass, but it didn't matter much anyway. He's
Gonna get a
dropped down,
penalty
way down
for sure.
to what is now 11th. He was 12th, but he's made up another place. Remy Delorme on the grass a little bit there, and Baldwin actually following. It seems to be the line at this point. These guys pushing so hard, it's just normal to dip your wheel onto the outside grass. Hakkinen's got his work cut out at the moment though. He's mired in traffic here once again, and it's not exactly like he's with much slower traffic, because Mattia Krupi's just in front of him, and Krupi was in 2nd place.
Now look at that, Yajowski is now starting to close in.
Move.
Meanwhile,
So,
Robin again is
move on
besides
Daniel Stopalski. He's got the
Steptovsky.
straight line speed on him on this occasion, so there's going to be no move here for Panzer. But
Unless
another great
Stepkovsky
show
runs
of
wide,
defending
no.
here from Daniel Stopalski.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the widest Porsche in existence, I think, because as he's just desperately trying to cling on to whatever position he can. He's lost so many through this race, either through drivers able to get past him or that little mistake earlier on. I'm sure he's going to want to hold on to 8th position as absolutely long as he can with 12 minutes remaining. It may be doable for the Porsche driver, but Robin Panzer is going to be all over the back of him in that Burst Esports car, just trying to sniff a way through and steal another position away from Daniel Stopalski. And yeah, meanwhile, Krupi is just a few seconds down the road, and if these two keep fighting, that might bring
They
him
will.
and Hakkinen in as well, so we may see this battle
Sadly,
extend
they
to
will.
another replay.
I think
Now that
Robin
Roberts
could
is
go
missing,
loads quicker, but
and,
without slipstream on this car, it's, or on
see
these
who
cars,
he
it's
is. He's
just
sniffing around the back.
nothing really you can do, can you?
Full screen.
Well, this is Philip Drace. This was the overtake
It
we
is,
saw
this was the move.
earlier. So into Le Mans, just a bit of a slide from Drace, and Dissolute was able to walk through that door fairly easily. There it is. Just a bit of a slide. Dip onto the
New
grass,
best
and
lap time,
then
Yajowski,
we saw
2:11.5.
side-by-side behind
So
between,
he is
Turkka Hakkinen and
starting to
Adam
push
Baldwin
now.
and all those guys. But here is Baldwin and Drace again. As Hakkinen is trying to make a move on Krupi, not able to on this occasion. It's all going on up and down the field though. It's difficult to these kind of races where you wish you had another set of eyes really, because You kind of need them.
It's happening
at this
so
point.
much,
This is the battle
literally
for fifth,
everywhere.
though. Delorme's managed to clear Drace now. Adam Baldwin trying to do the
Mr.
same.
Layton, thank you
Because they
so
weren't
much for
too
your
far away from
subscription,
being
by the
nose to
way.
tail,
Massively
actually,
appreciating that.
a few
Hey,
laps
Del
ago.
boy, how you doing?
So yeah, Delorme's done a good job there to get through, and Drace is doing a good job to defend. To be fair to him, he's trying to hold on to this top 5 spot, and considering he wants a top 5, of course, in the standings at the end of the season, he's going to hold on for every point he can get. It's 1 point per position at this point, so even if he loses these 2, it'll only be 2 points. But considering the closeness of the championship, you do need every point you can get.
Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely, you never want to be giving away any points that you might be able to keep a hold of, because it could make all the difference come the end.
And I tell you though, Yayovsky now 2.9 seconds away. Mikel is gonna start feeling the pressure soon. And I'm not sure between those guys, like Panzer has now finally passed Stepkowski. And is he able to close in those guys though?
A bit more breathing room again. And got lucky with that one, but you can't make too many mistakes.
So Ruben, you're managing cameras with replays and stuff, and also watching this watch party. Amazing. I love it.
If you make a mistake, there's no second thoughts about it. They're going for that position from you, and
yeah, Yoski just 2 seconds away from Mikel. Watch it.
Yeah, he's been fantastic so far this race. Adam Baldwin's not been bad in terms of making these moves, and neither has Guillaume Mas, coming from outside of the top 10 to a possible top 5 if things go his way in the next few moments. You just saw there Erhan Yoski with the new fastest lap of the race at 2:11.5. He's on a charge right now, and we'll get to that in a moment. But here's Robin Panzer versus Janusz Stopalski, and maybe finally Panzer got
no, please no, please not.
Stopalski go a little bit way too deep.
Okay, for a split second I thought Robin was about to send it and touch him.
Who has spent 2 seasons in the GT Pro Championship.
Awesome move though. Great one, Robin. Very opportunistic. Keep pushing, guys. That said, where's Cameron? Not in the top 23. Oh no. Those guys, this triple is not done fighting either.
Making any moves on each other for the moment, just kind of in this holding pattern, but it definitely seems to me that Drace is the slowest of this group, and Baldwin and Massa
potentially, yes,
getting their way through in the next few moments.
Absolutely, yeah, it does seem like Drace has become the cork in the bottle a little bit for these guys, and just it's more a matter of when rather than if. There's 8 minutes of the race to go. You have to feel the moves coming soon as we take a look back from Philip Drace at just how close Baldwin's getting. Of course, Baldwin knows all too well in the feature races how to pressure an opponent towards the end of the race. We saw him doing it all the way through the feature race last week.
So Yayovsky 1.8 seconds away from Mikel. Like, he probably needs to push harder now, but
a little bit earlier on, you touched on the fastest laps coming through, but Yayovsky is very
maybe he's just about his second place. It's gonna help it as well.
Already down to 2 seconds that gap now. It was nearly 6 just a couple of laps ago. So with 7 minutes to go, we could
wow, Baldwin, what a cut there out of the Indy Le Mans corner.
Line on the right hand side as we look at it. Adam Baldwin's on the inside, but it's a very tight line into Sunset Bend.
That's gonna end in tragedy.
And he doesn't take it into the corner. Guillaume Mas is going to try and get a piece of this, maybe. Let's wait and see. Baldwin sniffing on the inside line, trying to get anything, any kind of leverage there, maybe, but not able to. And Guillaume Mas not able to get the exit that he was really hoping for there. 4 laps to go, I believe, at the end of the start of this one. 4 laps to go as they cross the line just there. So still a little bit of time for these guys to make up some moves. Notably as well for Turka Hakkinen, who's trying to get through on Mattia Krupi for a top 10 here once again. It looks like Remy Delorme.
Oh, who's off? Satni Sula?
Into the barriers on the right hand side. At least I'm hoping it is, and not one of the front runners.
Wasn't
getting
Nisula.
out the way of everybody though. A good exit from Guillaume Mas, and a fairly good one from Baldwin as well. This is so close for 5th place at the moment.
Baldwin's gonna send it on the brakes.
Hard in Monza, let's not forget him. They're battling hard here once again. Here in Sebring.
Oh, Mas was sending it actually.
quite space for his car.
And
it
suddenly
sends
Baldwin is in the
pinballing
position
into
to
Philip
remove
Drace
on
just
Dries.
in front.
What
And
am I
now
looking
you
at?
can see the battle has really kicked off. Good traction from Drace on that occasion. Not so good for Baldwin, who's having to defend into Cunningham, but nothing doing. The positions stay the
Another
same.
bongo, what?
Yeah, this is so close. It's sort of like a little bit like Guillaume Mas is pushing this battle along between these two McLarens. We thought that McLarens would be a little bit faster through the race.
Oh, that's
but,
gonna
obviously,
be him gone.
a few of these drivers
Oh, it's
got
gonna
raced.
bonk him
A
again.
little bit more of a touch from Guillaume Mas in the back of Baldwin.
Yeah, if Mas wouldn't have
And
touched
yeah,
him there in
just
the
a
back.
few of these guys in the Audis proving that not necessarily the case, especially in the wet. As you can see, just how much you can close up under braking.
But Baldwin is struggling with that McLaren, my goodness me. In the meanwhile, Panzer is on their rear wing as well, so he's gonna join the party soon.
Looking for a better exit and trying to go up the inside, but Adam Baldwin trying to shut the door. He's going to
Oh, you don't do that.
Very close. I don't think he's going to quite get a slipstream. He might get a little bit of one from the car.
They're gonna crash soon. Like Masters at some point gonna try big time somewhere.
Maybe trying to do a little bit of a steal of his own. Going right the way up to the back of Guillaume Mas now. So what was a 3-car fight, swiftly becoming a 4-car fight, all for 5th position.
And Yayovsky is within 1 second of Mikel. Oh, that's gonna be awesome as well.
The fastest man out there on the circuit is Erhan Yayovsky. He's already won 2 races in the GT Challenge Series this season, and he's looking to make that 3 out of 4 as Jake the Stout DNFs from the early or the top 15. Certainly that's another disappointment for the American. Oh dear, he's not had a good day. He had a good start, but a good Monza I mean, but not a good Sebring by
It's
any
again
stretch
the
of the
case
imagination.
that
Sometimes it just
Drace
happens.
has the
And
minimum
it's
rear
happened
wing,
for a
and
lot
that's why
today.
he's
Pastorino,
struggling so
Asensio,
much.
Silva,
But
all out
in
of the race.
hindsight,
Nico
no one can
Bartley, I
really
think, is out
touch
of the
him
race as well.
on the end of a straight.
Sorry, not Nico Bartley,
But now he went a little wide.
Is
It's a tricky one. Like, Baldwin needs to really send it somewhere
Yeah, absolutely, and of course.
and make use of his brakes and his aerodynamical performance of the high wing.
Unfortunately, just one of those things we're always going to expect to see at least a couple of DNFs as we take a look at exactly what happened to Stout up the inside. A little bit of contact, and around he goes, and into the wall.
It's a similar picture to what I've seen.
That is unfortunate for Jake the Stout there. That just trying to make the move happen, not quite able to. And in the wet conditions, there's not really a lot you can do. It's like ice skating when it gets like that. You can try and correct it, but
Yep, Psycho Gaming. The Sebring racetrack actually got a PBR update. Well, like, Baldwin is all over the place. Oh, what was Robin doing there? Yayovsky, 4.5 tenths back on Mikel. What the heck? Like he's gonna sniff it in the last lap of the race.
Having to use the picture-in-picture at the moment is Yayovsky, as the race starts to close, starting to get very close to the back of Christian Mikel, while we keep an eye on this battle as well. And it's all unfolding as that's another wiggle for Adam Baldwin there.
How is Baldwin still racing straight? Like, I don't get it. And Yayovsky is right on the tail. Mikel's rears are dead. Yayovsky will get him. It's 2 laps to go from here.
Possibly one more lap, I believe, after this one for Yayovsky to get the move done.
And he will. Like, he gained so much time in the last couple of laps.
Quite possibly. Just over 2 minutes to go. Not very long to go in terms of laps. About a lap and a half remaining in this race. The main race at Sebring here for the GT Challenge Series Season 4. Christian Mikel has taken the lead early on in this race, and he's been leading for about 40 minutes, 40 minutes at this point. But he could have his heart broken right at the very end. His pace seems to be just tailing off.
That would have been painful.
Has caught him.
But
Nisela is catching them both as well at the moment.
you certainly want to have 99 different drivers in your rear wing, but not Janowski. Yeah, Yayovsky in the last lap.
It's Nigel Velix versus R8G Esports for the win in this race. We've seen such fantastic battling. The wet weather has thrown up all
But Yayovsky is somewhere gaining half a second on him per lap.
many points at
On
all.
whatever occasion that is.
Names have risen to the fore, and these are two
Perhaps
of them.
it is
Out
sunset.
of Le Mans they come in
All
onto the
about
home and straight for the penultimate
having the
time here
bravery,
today,
and it's all
going
about having the
towards
balance and the
Sunset
trust
Bend.
into the car.
In what order are these two going to be?
And maybe
this
Mikel
time
is just
next
taking
lap?
it too
That's
easy
when
around
it's all
that corner in
important.
the
With
last
1
couple of
minute to
laps.
go, Christian Mikel is going to be cursing the fact he's still got another lap to go in this race here at Sebring. Yoski sliding his way
Yeah, and
through
it's
Sunset
exactly
again,
what I think it
and
was.
sliding his way towards the wall.
Ooh.
Opposite lock, a lot of opposite lock, and not a good exit for Erhan Yoski. He's lost a lot of
Mikel,
time
you've
there.
just been
Christian
lucky, I
Mikel
guess.
has defended well as the first punches are thrown. Here comes Adam Baldwin on Philip Dreis. These two have been
Does he
battling
go for a
so hard
send?
all throughout this race as they were in the main race 2 weeks ago, and the battle's still not resolved. It looks like Philip Dreis may prevail for the second time in a row.
But yeah, Yoski is
Let's
still
wait and
close
see.
enough, 4.5
Here
tenths
on
only.
that one. Guys in behind include Guillaume Mas, Ryan Panzer, Daniel Stopowski, and even Matej Krupi and Turka Hakkinen are in the background of that shot there. So you never know what kind of or who's going to be in the top 5. There's about 7 to choose from there, so take your pick. It looks like Dreis is going to hold on for a famous drive, though. He's been defending almost the entirety of this race, and it's continuing on. Christian Mikel's going to have to do a bit of defending here, though, from Erhan Yoski. The gap is only 3.5 tenths between the two of them. We go on board now with the two-time GT Pro Series champion, the North Macedonian, looking to take his 11th race victory.
Yeah, Yoski is so much faster.
Pro Series or the Challenge Series. He's
Der völlig
Some of
geisteskrank, Mann.
these exits are not particularly great. He spoke to me before the day
Oh!
about tyre temperatures. He might not have kept them in check.
Baldwin got passed. As I said, he's just gonna have to send it. Oh, and Mas gonna send it. That's gonna freebies for Robin.
Oh dear, it's all falling apart on the last lap for him. He loses free spaces.
And Mas is gonna get a
Robin
penalty. And
goes through as
oh,
well.
what is Jajowski? Jajowski's gonna send it into the final turn.
It's not a good line.
Hals Maul.
It's not a good exit for him though. He's going to get the slipstream into Sunset, but has he got enough time to do this? Is there going to be a dive?
There is gonna be a dive, trust me.
It's slipstream, he's gaining all the time into the very final corner of the race, and the main race is going to go to the inside, not quite. Christian Mikel tries to defend, and he looks like he might just hold out here. He slides to Erhan Yoski. He can't quite do it.
Nearly did a Kazdorp there.
Christian Mikel's going to hold on. He's going to win the
But he
second
tried.
race at Sebring. Erhan Yoski
What a
missing out
race.
by
What a
just
finish.
over a second. Yimi Nisela with a great job to get into third. Remy Delorme is going to be fourth. And
No, Robin! No!
Panzer's going to steam down the inside.
No!
Bump his way through on Guillaume Mas into
Nah.
second place. What a great drive from Robin Panzer as well, from nearly 20th of the start. He's right up there knocking on the door of a top 5. What a fantastic race. What a great end.
Oh, I'm not
to the
sure
main
if he
race
keeps
at
that
Sebring.
position though.
Yeah, and I've been waiting for this all race. Ruben coming in with the slow-mo, and I'm not gonna lie, Erhan Yoski had me very worried with that slide at the end of the race.
Yeah.
That was some
But,
great car
well,
control to hold on.
How he
And,
kept
really
it though,
gave
man.
his absolute all at the end of the
So
race.
GT3, same race distance as the GTEs last week with us. Well, this week actually.
At least Nigel Velix can take away something from this race with 2 of their cars DNFing, the other one not in the top 10. Erhan Yoski finishes in second position. Another fantastic drive from the 2-time GT Pro champion, with Yumi Nisula, the position thief of the day, up into P3. Remy Delorme, a solid drive in P4 as well. Adam Baldwin, we saw managing to get ahead of Robin Panzer after his Philip Dreis towards the end, with Robin Panzer just behind him, and Guillaume Mas in P7. Philip Dreis, with that little mistake, does drop down to P8, with Daniel Stopowski with the widest Porsche in the world having to settle for 9th in the end, and Matej Krupi finishing in the top 10 as well. As we flick across quickly to another replay from the back of Christian Mikel of this finish, and just how close. Look at how close Yoski got. That was so close to being
Yeah.
sunset. And then a bit of Tokyo drifting as well to finish off in style for Yoski. Look at that. So well held to keep it out of the wall. I thought it may end in tears for
What a save.
And that's
But
some
how
car
though?
control
Like
in
I
this
would
kind of
have
weather,
been
I'll tell you
dead.
that. carrying on the rest of our running order then, Turk Hakkinen P11 in the only other finishing Citroen's Knight of Alex Carr with Zoltan Vikonyi in P12 behind him. Gabo Hevesi, the independent driver in P13. Just
Robin,
Nico
what a
Marquardt
drive
in
though,
that
like from
P19
P19 into P6 in the end.
Liam Rance, down in
He got the
16th with Johan
potential for
Kojan behind
GT
him in
Pro.
17th. Jan Venneger in that very brightly coloured
That's for
Porsche
sure.
in 18th with David Kolotsai in 19th.
Certainly want to see the standings now.
Of our
Let's
grid.
hope we
And
can
then
see
the
it.
final few cars, Thomas Vack and Cam Roger in 21st and 22nd, and then a whole heap of DNFs. Of course, we saw Jake start going off at sunset towards the end of the race. Nello Pastorino unable to finish along with his teammate Henry sitting in the two GTCRC cars. Also, Yao Senshao and Diogo Silva DNFing from the race. Roland Zux not finishing from Mugen Sim Racing, and of course Rory McDuff going out quite early on from a reasonable position with what may have been a connection issue, but we're still not quite sure. And what a race that was, Ewan.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant race, and fair play to Yoshiki there, because halfway around sunset he could have easily just released the brakes ever so slightly, got into the back of the Knight of Alex car and bumped his way into the victory, but he didn't want to do that.
That's
at
not
all.
how
yeah, fair play to him
great
for that.
sim racer
What
do
a
it.
fantastic,
No,
especially the
no
main
way.
race was absolutely brilliant. The wet weather never disappoints, and I have to say,
Hey,
a final
Kaskopper.
word from you, Paul. I've got to be honest, I need to lie down, but I thoroughly
And
enjoyed those
Lexar
races.
Elo.
Yeah, absolutely.
I missed that
it's
for
one
a
of those
for a
races you
slight
couldn't
second.
Take your eyes off wherever there was something.
I mean, it was an
wherever the
interesting
cars, there was
race though. Like as
something
they
going on
say, wherever
across
you were
the
watching, there was
circuit,
something
and,
going on. So that's
there's
amazing.
So much action to watch, and I'm sure we'll have some more action in just a couple of weeks' time.
Lime Rock Park and Lochtrum. I'm so not looking forward to all that. Cannot believe it. Anyway, guys, that's gonna actually do it for today, and that's probably also gonna do it for this one again.
We'll do some touching up on the championship, of course, and we'll
A
tell
quick
you about that,
heads up
here next
about
time out when we're
the
at Lime Rock Park, so make sure you join us for
upcoming
that.
races here on Michihoya Sim Racing. So we're going to be live with Formula Pro on Monday around Indianapolis, expecting rain most likely. Beyond that, on Tuesday, we're going to be racing RCCO at Spa-Francorchamps. So for both races, some practicing is going on again on the weekend, I'm afraid. Beyond that, not too much really. Like, I think next week is about time to get into some fun stuff here and there again. Like maybe racing an ACC somewhere, maybe racing something different. Not sure if I really want to go back on iRacing at this stage. Probably not really, but yeah, we're gonna have a look. And beyond that, guys, I hope you have a nice weekend altogether. I hope you've enjoyed that little bit of a program that we had. It's not that particularly great video and stuff, but you know, let's enjoy some racing. Let's enjoy some watch partying together. So I hope you did that well. I hope everything's alright. I hope you're having a good time, and I hope to see you on more streams here on Michihoya Sim Racing. So please, if you do appreciate the channel, make sure you hit the like button on the video, you follow up on Twitch, subscribe to the YouTube channel, make this community grow. And for those that are watching still, we're gonna send you over to someone else. Alex Gillen is live with some iRacing. Let's join him. So we enjoy a little bit of racing tonight. Lexa, I'm looking forward to see you on Discord. And beyond that, guys, everyone else, thank you for your time. Thanks for being here, and see you the next time. Goodbye.